The long-awaited Joe Biden press conference finally happened. And I have to wonder how much anyone really cares. It was exactly as we thought it would be. He gaffed. He said some really weird things. His brain stopped working halfway through, and then the media came out and defended him. And so I guess we're going to end up talking a little bit about this, but we'll talk a bit more about some other cultural, political issues. We have, this is crazy. You guys know who Emily Ratajkowski is? Yeah, she's that model, and she always just gets naked. She has this article where she talks about how she despises the fact that her baby is a white man, and that she looks at her husband sleeping in his bed, and she just hates him because he's a white man sleeping peacefully. We got some stuff to talk about. We're definitely getting into it. Apparently, Disney Plus, I guess The Mandalorian's ratings tanked. That's what they're reporting now because after they kicked off Gina Carano, and they're accusing her of saying a bunch of things she didn't say. So we're gonna go through this stuff, and we'll start with good old Joe Biden and what's going on with him because this is actually pretty funny. Joining us today, of course, is none other than the Quartering.
Come on, man. Glad to be here. Really, really glad to be in the beanie, multi-million-dollar beanie compound with not one, but 2 skate parks and just a lot of interesting things around here. I'm glad to be here.
A lot of weird stuff. Like the Hour pillow over there, a burlap sack with packing peanuts in it.
Look, I thought this was like a gift bag item. Do I get to take that, right?
No. We can make you one. We can make you an official Hour pillow bag. I love how you mentioned the beanie combo over because there was that smear piece I won't get too much into where they're like, you know, people are scared to go to Tim Pool's house because he has guns. And I'm like, we have a guest every single day.
I'm scared. They're right. They're everywhere. I went to the bathroom.
Okay. There was one in the toilet.
No. It's just like in there.
The toilet was the gun.
Right.
And he almost sat on. We were like, whoa, that's actually not a toilet.
Yeah. I didn't know. They've come a long way. Yeah.
You're like walking down the stairs and then there's like a latch right above and you pull it. And it's like watching one of those action movies with Bruce Willis, you know, and there's like guns hidden everywhere.
Well, you must have got a lot of money invested in razor wire too, because there's some serious security around here.
The hyenas, I think, are really keeping this place safe.
They're cute.
The hyenas everywhere. Well, we don't feed them, so that they're particularly ravenous.
Yeah, stay away
that
from
way.
guys.
Stay away from my house. All right. Anyway, well, thanks for hanging out, Jeremy.
Yeah.
We got Ian. He's chilling.
Oh, hello everyone. Ian Crossan. What up?
And also me in the corner. It's going to be a great show. We love having Jeremy here with all our hyenas.
Yes, and I think we're looking forward to just laughing at the sadness that is our president. But before we do that, click the link in the description below. Go to surfinginternetsafe.com, and you can get a virtual private network to help secure your internet browsing. Surfing Internet Safe. You go there, you get the Virtual Shield VPN, 50% off for life. It's only $2.50 per month. Let me tell you what a VPN does. It is a basic layer of security. If you've got creepos, stalkers, government agents, hackers, big corporations, they want to spy on your data, they want to steal your information, a VPN is that basic layer of defense to help keep your information safe, to help you protect your privacy. And I think Virtual Shield is a great service. They've been a sponsor of the show for a long time, so I'm eternally grateful that they're here. The way I usually explain this, you've probably heard me say it, but it bears repeating. We don't expect anybody to break into our homes, but we still lock our doors and our windows. If somebody really wanted to, they're going to take a sledgehammer to your door. I get it, but that lock does work because sometimes people, they try and push through, they can't get through. It's basically what that VPN does. It's something really easy you can get to keep your internet browsing safe. So go to surfinginternetsafe.com, get Virtual Shield. And again, guys, this Virtual Shield was my first sponsor. They've always been there for me. Through the thick and thin, through all the controversy and demonetization, Virtual Shield, they rock. So thank you all so much. Don't forget, also, go over to timcast.com. Become a member, because we got a bunch of exclusive members-only podcast segments. We had Aaron Berg yesterday, and he had some pretty offensive jokes. And so we're like, we'll keep the ones that are particularly dangerous for YouTube and put it on the private platform. So if you want to hear ridiculous conversations, offensive comedy, we also got a bunch of segments that are much more serious. We've got talking about God and DMT and politics. We have a big library. We got a new website launching soon, an upgrade. And we're going to try and sort these episodes by different topics so that you can actually go in and, as a member, get access to this full library of content that's always going to be there for you as a member. And also, don't forget, like, share, subscribe this podcast, subscribe to this YouTube channel and this podcast. If you are listening on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a good review. We really do appreciate it because it really, really helps. And share the show because that's the only way we really grow. But special shout out to everybody who's a member, because you guys, you got to understand, right now, viewership is down across the board for every major media company. Ad rates are down for every single media company. And your membership really helps this company function, helps us keep doing the show. And we're going to be expanding. I'm talking to some of these comedians about doing series, like comedy shows, to bring back that edgy, offensive comedy. It's not too ridiculous and over the top, but like how it used to be before everybody got scared and woke, right? But with all that being said, let's jump in.
Wait a minute. You know where my head just went right there?
Where'd your head go?
You guys are all, I think, maybe Lydia isn't. Remember Wayne's World where Dana Carvey's sitting back in his hockey gear with the Reebok stuff, and he's like, man, it's like people only do stuff because they get paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Correct.
true. Well, look, if we want
Correct.
to keep this show running,
you have
So legit.
then membership has become the core function of this business. I mean, YouTube's unreliable. People are getting purged. Ad rates and viewership's going down for everybody. But I want to create something that is its own brand, that you come to this website, kind of like our own smaller independent version of a Disney Plus or a Hulu. So I'm actually talking to some
with
comedians.
less slave labor.
Yeah. Well, actually, none.
none.
We've
Zero?
Only robots.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We've actually found a way to not have slavery. Like,
Whoa.
Disney couldn't figure it out, but we
Amazing.
did. So yeah. But the plan is we want to do movies. We want to do short films. We want to do comedy. We want to do action, adventure, and stuff. And maybe that's that's what we're literally working on. We're talking about doing a paranormal podcast next, and we're actually starting the process of looking through some of the people who emailed us for jobs, and we're gonna do ghosts, paranormal, weird, wacky, wild UFOs and stuff. So we're gonna start expanding. Next is a podcast, but then we're gonna start looking at documentary series and things like that. So that's all thanks to you guys,
That's what's
wonderful
powered,
members.
Powered by membership.
Have you done a membership service yet?
I do. I just started one. Yeah, it is. I mean, I kid, but it is super important. Like,
Yeah.
even the small membership is infinitely more helpful than even YouTube ad rev. So, yeah, I mean, if you're not already backing me and you have a few extra dollars, considering going to
We're going to
Timcast.
build something massive in 5
believe
years.
you.
In 5 years, I think we'll be. I'll keep some humility for a second, but no, like I think we're going places.
I mean, we have the architecture of minds behind it. It's so much is already in place.
We've got a lot of stuff we're going to make. We got a lot of people who are interested in doing it. The opportunity is there, and because we have these members supporting us, we have the ability to do things these big networks can't do because they're scared of losing advertisers.
Yep.
We're not.
Yep.
But let's make fun of Joe Biden. Come
Yes.
on.
Oh,
My friends, you may have seen the press conference with Joe Biden. It was particularly boring. He called mostly on favorable press. He didn't ask a single he didn't ask a single conservative, to speak at this press conference. And he had your very obvious gaffes. At one point, someone asked him a question about how to solve problems, and he's like, we gotta do what we gotta work on is very okay. Whatever. And it was
That's
just
basically shot for shot. That's exactly how I remember it.
just stopped.
Yeah, he
and
just
I was
completely
like,
shut down.
whoa. Like the dude just stopped talking dead, and then like his brain just misfired. And what's funny is all of these journalists started saying like they were defending him. So I put out these very powerful and profound tweets where I was
saw
like,
them. I saw
Joe
them.
Biden's strength is exactly what we need. He is the champion we elected. I'm like, the dude literally just stopped talking because his brain didn't work. And they're actually journalists defending him, but you know who isn't defending him?
Kamala Harris.
Snopes.
Oh, what'd they say?
Here we go.
They did get him.
I
They
love
got
it.
him. They got him. Yeah.
From Snopes fact check. Now, hold on. There's a lot of people who might not understand the context of why it's funny that Snopes is fact checking this. It's because, like, Snopes fact checks the stupidest way possible. There will be a story, right? Let's say, Jeremy, one day, you're the host of The Quartering, and you do cultural commentary. So there's a lot of lefties. They don't like you. Let's say one day you ran into a burning building and saved a box of puppies, and with
Totally
at great
normal.
risk to yourself. And then everyone starts congratulating you.
As they should.
Snopes is the kind of outlet that would say, did Jeremy Hambly actually run into a burning building to save puppies?
Were the puppies actually racist?
No.
Yes,
They'll say,
that'll be part of it.
did Jeremy Hambly actually run into a house to save a box of small puppies while wearing Nikes?
Yes.
And then they'll say, false. And then it'll say, while it's true he did run in the burning building to save the puppies, he wasn't, in fact, wearing those shoes. That way what they do is, the headline has the big false next to it. They add something to the story that makes the whole story false, even though it's 99% true.
Snopes does that?
Yeah, absolutely. There was one recently, I can't remember what it was. It was like, oh yeah, I remember. Did Ocasio-Cortez exaggerate her, her fear from the Capitol? False. While she wasn't in the building when the storming happened, and she was in a different building at a different time, she did say, like, it's like they just play that game, right? Check this out. Did Biden say, "I came into the U.S. Senate 120 years ago"?
Oh, you're gonna say no, right?
1901.
I believe it. I believe it. You telling me that's not true?
Well, no. Snopes says it's true. The remark in question came during his first news conference of the new administration. Rating, true. Joe Biden said, with regard to the filibuster, "I believe we should go back to the position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago." You know what I love about this, though? Look at this. This is what they say. It's true that Biden said these words. However, it was unclear if he misspoke or was simply making a joke. Do you see how they defend this guy? How they? Look at this. We have this tweet here. Zach Smith on Twitter, who just seems to be a regular guy, noticed this trend, and Lydia noticed this as well.
Yeah.
He tweeted, "I like how Twitter is saying that Biden was joking about him saying he's been in the Senate for 120 years. That Biden smiles when he jokes. He said that with a stern face. He really thinks he's been in the Senate for 120 years, and Twitter is trying to tell you he was joking." Look at this. United States Trends. It says, Senate 120. In his bid to bring back the former filibuster format, President Biden jokingly said, "We should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came in Senate 120 years ago." It wasn't a joke. There was no joke. Like, a joke would be like if he was like, he would have said something like, "Oh, geez, back when I came in, we didn't even have the filibuster because that was, 200 years ago?" Yeah, I'm kidding.
Come on,
but you know what I mean. Come on, man, it's a joke, He wasn't.
Joking.
How was he joking?
Well, it was like, "I've been in the Senate for a long time." Ha ha
But
ha.
120 years is a specific number. It's like a
know.
really. He would have been
It's
like
just a bad
He'd
joke.
be like, we could go back to the way the filibuster was when I went in, 100 plus years ago, and then it would have been like, haha, was that fell flat.
Isn't it possible? Hear me out. That Joe Biden may be a vampire. He may actually be 100 and what would that make him? 140?
Oh, he could. If he was a vampire, he could theoretically be 500.
Yeah, right.
But
so
that would imply that he got bitten when he was in his 70s.
That's
Because now
unfortunate.
because when you turn into a vampire, you stay the same age
that's
forever.
a bummer.
I was
Be
thinking
an old man
yesterday, if you
forever.
eat meat and you think you're not a vampire,
Bad
then
news.
you're
Good
lying
point.
to
We're not
yourself.
drinking blood, dude.
Yeah,
You don't
there's-
grab the pig and drink its blood.
There's
Or
blood in that meat.
You don't?
Look. I tweeted when I saw this. I was like, all across the country, lizard people, conspiracy theorists spit their doers onto their screen, and we're like, "I knew it!"
First thing I thought.
Yeah. He was going crazy.
admitted it.
Yeah.
All right, lizard vampire confirmed.
I'm tuning into Alex
man.
tomorrow. I know he's
Yes.
gonna mention it.
Yeah, but he's not gonna actually say Joe Biden's an immortal lizard person. You know what I mean?
Highlander.
How can you know that?
Is he trolling us? Has Biden been trolling us this whole time? He's going to
What if-
Charlie and the
what
Chocolate
if-
Factory us?
Yeah. I can see it.
He walks forward in the press conference and falls down and then springs
Because
up.
we already think he
Ta-da!
falls. We're
I mean,
afraid that he's going to
yeah.
get hurt.
What if
was all
he's
for show.
that was a joke I was making during the campaign, that Joe Biden was only pretending to be incapable of doing his job, so that like throughout the debates he's fumbling and stumbling and struggling to walk and slipping, and then finally when it comes to to the final debate with Trump, he staggers out, falls down, but then springs up like Willy Wonka and stuns the whole world, and that gives him the news cycle, so he wins. The only problem is he's won and he's still doing it.
Yeah.
So that theory is out the window.
It's the long play, man. Did you see they were already asking him if he's going to rerun?
Oh
He's
my
been the
God.
president for like a month. I'm like,
Yep.
are you going to rerun? He's like, well, of course. He said, come on, man. I was like, well, if you run again, will you take Kamala Harris? Like, he's been the president for like a month and a half.
And they're already like, no, but here's the funny thing.
Who can we replace you with?
Yeah.
The funny thing about this press conference, when I think it was, I don't remember who asked him if he was going to run again, he said it was his expectation. How is it even a consideration? Every president, like going back decades, has run for a second term, going back 100 plus years or whatever. They've always tried to get, since FDR, I guess that's when we got the 2-term limit. But they've always said, I'll run for re-election.
Listen,
They'll
man, he's a
always
big
win.
believer in faith. He's a big believer in faith.
Right, but like,
Willing it to be.
what I'm saying is, think about how weird it is. We're at a point where we're arguing about whether or not he will run when every other president did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that Biden is actually in this position where it's questionable whether he will is scary to us. The dude was talking and then just stopped and then went, whatever.
Hacker.
He's like, he lost, he just lost it. And now they're like, are you gonna run for president again? You know what the journalists are actually asking. Are you okay?
Are you gonna pass the torch?
No, they're saying, are you okay? Like, the dude just gaffed in ridiculous ways, and they were like, are you gonna run for office again?
Well, they asked him in that same conference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Multiple ways, too.
I know, it was funny.
Yeah, it was really insulting, and I loved it. But they had, I don't think I've seen a president on a podium with more notes. Now, I'm not that, he had notes. First of all, I don't know what's on them. But every reporter that came up, in my opinion, my guess is it was the reporter, their political background, exactly what question they're going to ask, and the answer. Because
I agree.
Who's next?
No.
Okay, so-and-so, and then put it down.
So we already know that reporters were complaining. Jen Psaki, who's the press secretary, that's right, press secretary.
Yeah, that's correct.
She had requested questions in advance. So when Biden's like looking through his folder and he goes, what do we got here? Janet. And then he's looking down. She asks the question, and then he goes, 1 second. And then he like folds the paper and goes, we gotta fight. And like he's got the answers written down.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was very obvious.
And
he
you know
was
what-
just reading it off
and-
whatever was on that paper.
I think when he just was talking, someone asked him a question, he tried. I think that's when he tried. You know what I mean? Like, here he is, he's got all the answers in front of him, and they're going, just stick to the prompter. Stick to the prompter. It reminds me of Iron Man. Remember that at the end of the movie? When they're like, just stick to the cards. And then he, like, stops and goes down. I am Iron Man. Like, Joe Biden tried to do that, but he doesn't have, like, the wherewithal to actually say words without a card in front of him or a teleprompter. So he's like, they're like, just stick to the cards. And he goes, come on, man. I read,
He had a couple of those really awkward meltdowns. I know there's more in the press conference we're going to talk about, but the one that really stuck out to me was the one that had he was talking, and then he just like shut down, and he was like, all right, that's it, and then just like left the stage.
Yep.
I was like, it was like somebody got in his ear, like, all right, Joe, time to go to bed.
Go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sun's
Because,
getting low
like,
now.
Yeah.
Sun's getting low. The Black Widow walks in.
Yeah.
Sun's getting real low, Joe. So, no, it was actually kind of funny when he ended it. He just like he's not with it, man. He was like, all right, but now I'm gonna go. Thanks, and then just turns and
Just
walks
walked
off.
away. Yeah, it was like he
No.
pooped his pants, and he didn't know what else to say, so he's like, I gotta get out of here,
Yeah.
and he just ran off the
That's a
stage.
boogie.
Didn't that happen with Matt Adler?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
he like waddled away or something, and people were like, "What just happened to that dude?"
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a true story, but
It's pretty obviously a load.
all right, let's talk about political bias real quick. Because we have this tweet that Lydia pulled up from Jennifer Rubin.
Oh yeah.
And do you know who she is? She's a Washington Post columnist, and she's supposedly a conservative. But she only ever praises Democrats, and I'm like,
Oh, there's one of those on every network though, and there's one,
right. But she
Yeah.
so she tweets this story: opinion. Biden excels at his first news conference. The media embarrass themselves. I love it. The media embarrass themselves. First
Yep.
of all, I've been saying that for 4 years.
Yeah, first of all.
Yeah.
So finally, thanks for joining the club. But come on, listen. I got no problem criticizing Trump if he deserves to be if he deserves to be criticized when he was president. The problem was people like Rubin and the media apparatus and his corporate powerful interests were like, Trump walks out on stage and waves, and they're like, Trump literally just did a Nazi salute. It's like,
Yes.
he's waving the crowd. Dude, chill out. That didn't happen. Now you have Joe Biden, and I said it was boring. It wasn't the apocalypse, but he did have these gaffes. We expected them, and now they're like, no, it was the best conference ever, and it's the media's fault. These people have their noses so far up Joe Biden's ass that they're coming out his mouth.
Well, Twitter had top trending was like, did Joe? And then I was like, oh, what's this? Like, I was thinking it was like, did Joe really say that? But no, it was all like, did Joe just conduct the most professional press conference ever and not insult any journalists and say anything misogynistic? And I was like, look, okay. yes, he stood up there and he said some things. But, and to be fair, they did ask him about they hit the unaccompanied minors thing a couple of times. My favorite Joe gaffe was him saying, well, I never said for them to come here. I've never said that. I've been saying now is not a great time to come to America. But I'm not going to leave them to starve on the border like Trump did.
Nah, he lied.
Of course he lied.
He was
but
like, nothing's changed. Truth is, nothing's changed.
Yeah,
the numbers are the same. So I pulled up CNN of all sources. And CNN was like, it is true the peak was during Trump, and we're nowhere near those levels. And it showed something really interesting. The moment Joe Biden assumed office, the number of unaccompanied minors skyrockets from its lowest point in 10 years to its highest point in the past, well, to its second highest point in the past 10 years.
A journalist actually said that to him, though. She said, I interviewed a 9-year-old whose mother told me that she sent him unaccompanied, and he walked all the way from Honduras by himself because Mama told him that Papa Joe would not turn him away. And then Joe's like, and Joe basically said, like, well, I'm not going to let him starve. So essentially, he was confirming the message that he's not going to send them away. But earlier in the press conference, he said, oh, we sent the vast majority of them back. That's something that he said, we sent the vast majority of these people back, which was utter baloney.
Since he came in, he rescinded a bunch of Trump's rules. The migrant protection protocols, they called it, remain in Mexico policy. Yeah. I'm pretty sure he ended that, which is now resulting in people getting hotel rooms. So, like, the Biden administration spent what,
$100 million or
$86 million
on
putting illegal immigrants in hotel rooms. Listen, man, I love humans. I want these people to live rich, full lives. What Biden is doing is not going to accomplish that. It's going to serve the interests of major corporations and multinational industries that want cheap serf labor from people who don't have rights in this country, don't have access to, like, health care, don't have minimum wage protections. And then what happens is these companies exploit this labor. None of us like that. We want people who are in this country legally and properly to have access to these jobs, to work hard and succeed. And that includes immigrants who come in the right way. It includes asylum seekers. But what they've done with the Democratic Party, with people like Joe Biden, is they've made it either you let them in, wandering through the desert, sent off to who knows where, or you're racist. Like, you're a bigot. You hate people. It's like, no, dude, listen. They come to the border. They say, here's my case. We can only let in certain amounts of people because we don't have an infinite, like, we don't have replicators like in Star Trek or anything. But they don't want you to understand that resources are finite. And you have a lot of these people on the left claiming scarcity ended a long time ago. It's just not true. We don't want carbon emissions to rise, so we don't want more people coming into this country, right? No, they don't agree with that either. It's like, you're the ones who say we produce too much carbon. Now you want to bring in a bunch of people to produce, like, America produces more than any of these other countries.
Not China.
Well, for sure. But I'm just pointing out the paradox.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
You mean the countries they're coming from.
They're saying that, like, we've got all these problems. You realize bringing all of these people in is going to result in a serf class. It's going to result in an underclass. They're not going to be better served. They're going to be wandering through the desert. It's a disaster. It is. It's Biden's fault.
Did you hear how Biden said he would solve it? He said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to put in street lights. See, what you got to do is you got to solve why they're leaving. And so one nation wanted street lights, and we put in street lights, and crime plummeted. And
you know what's crazy? I heard that when they do blue street lights, crime goes way down. And when they do halogen, like the orange one, crime actually goes up.
Why?
I buy that because there's a thing with, like, how you paint your walls and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's. I was just reading something about it. Because, like, you know how, like, when you're walking through a city and the lights are kind of orange, they switched them to switched to, like, blue and white lights, like colder, tones. Wow. And then crime dropped.
Interesting.
Yeah, that should just be a law then. They should all be that color.
Okay.
I mean, right?
They should strobe. They should flash. They should flash all colors of the rainbow.
Discotheques everywhere.
Yeah. Do it.
Everywhere, and that'll deal with it.
Yeah. Hey, so before we move on, I just wanted to say about the Jennifer Rubin thing. The byline on her article says, reporters have shown why these events are an utter waste of the president's time. So you see what they're doing here, right? You completely get it. She wants to be done with these pressers because they're so utterly humiliating.
Stop holding my president to any standards.
Exactly.
Stop it.
Boom. Done.
Donald Trump, we threw him in the garbage chute. Joe Biden, don't you dare talk about Joe Biden.
He's right next to Jesus Christ.
You know,
Okay.
you know what the reality is though. These people desperately need Trump back. So some people may have noticed. I saw some people in the chat and they were like, "Tim's going to be on Fox News in an hour." And I'm like, "No, I was on Fox News 20 minutes ago."
I saw it happen.
So that was actually I was on Fox News an hour ago. And one of the things we talked about was Donald Trump launching this new social network. We have the story here from Axios. Scoop. Trump in talks with upstart apps about new social network. And so I'm talking to the guys at Fox, and they're like, you think they're going to... They nuked Parler, right? They destroyed Parler, and it was very obvious that it was coordinated. Do you think they're going to nuke Donald Trump's new platform?
Yes.
No.
You think they're not going to?
I think they're not going to.
I'm on Team Ian here.
Is it a proprietary
You think they're
software?
going to?
I don't think it'll ever get off the ground. I think he's toxic. He can't be involved in it.
You know why I disagree? The media needs Trump. Their ratings are in the gutter. Their revenue is trash, and they're freaking out about it. And they're trying to find a villain. CNN's like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and everyone's like, who? Well,
They got Ted Cruz.
Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, Tucker Carlson.
And everyone's like, I don't watch Fox. CNN's struggling to find their villain. If Donald Trump launches this new app, they're going to be like, wait. Oh no! Oh Trump!
If
Oh
only
geez.
could we have stopped this?
But it's a free country. Oh man, we better write about every single thing he says again.
But Google and Apple don't need them. They won't. They'll
I
shut
think
the
I
gates.
agree.
I wouldn't be surprised if what happens next is that they start claiming it's wrong of Google and Apple to censor. It's too far. As much as we don't like the president, it's too much. No, look at.
Did you see Bernie do it? Bernie came out.
Exactly.
And he was
Yeah.
like, actually, I don't like, but like 4 months before, he was like basically advocating for his deplatforming.
Demanding it.
Yeah.
We gotta get rid of this guy.
And then I saw certain people who shall
He's a
remain
billionaire.
unnamed being like, I knew my backing Bernie was good. I'm like, is this you, bro? Like Bernie like literally demanded
That's what I'm
it.
saying, dude. They're
Yeah.
realizing they've lost their villain. They need a villain.
Tucker's not good enough. You're
He's
right.
not. Tucker, it's like, he's one guy with an opinion. And they're like, but he's spreading misinformation. But he's not the president. He's not in government. He just talks about stuff.
He doesn't.
People don't care.
But Trump doesn't need to have a social network to be that guy. He just needs to be on one.
Exactly.
So, like, in my opinion, I like Trump.social would be a disaster.
Is that what they're calling it?
No, I don't know.
Jeremy's
I
calling
mean,
it.
Trump puts his name on everything, so I would assume it would be like tr.mp or you know what I mean, or whatever he would do. It would be awful. But what he could do is he could, Parler's, in my opinion, basically dead.
Trump space.
Yeah, Trump space. Yeah. But
Parler was
he
killed.
could buy Parler. He does. All he has to do is join it, though.
Yes.
He doesn't need to spend a dime. He just has to join it, and 20 million people will follow. And he didn't.
And he knows
do
that,
it.
but he
I
won't do
know.
it.
He knows it because he knows he's worth money. He's a businessman.
Yeah. And
He
so
knows
he's
that he
thinking, I'll
won't
do
it.
my own thing and I'll own it.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got that buddy Lindell who's got a ton of money.
I mean, Trump's a billionaire.
Yeah, but I don't even know if that's enough money to start wanting to go against Silicon Valley right now.
It is. He could do it. Listen, with the Fediverse, you're familiar with the Fediverse?
Yep.
Trump could easily create an open source Fediverse app. Boom. Trump space.
Does he have the people around him, though? Because this is the guy that said ban Section 230.
To repeal Section 230.
Repeal
like-
it.
Yeah,
That
he doesn't know
showed
what
me
he's
he
talking
didn't
about.
know what the frick he was talking about. Like, does he even have people around him? Because if he had good people around him, he would have joined Parler.
It was really
When he
frustrating
needed
to me.
to.
Minds, if he'd known what he was
Or
doing.
Mine's, yeah. Or, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to
sec-
mention the other one. There's another one he could have joined, too.
Gab.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
The Section
Much
230
love to
thing
Andrew
was
Tor-
interesting.
What's his name, Torvald?
The
Andrew-
Section 230.
Andrew
The
Tourette's.
Section 230 thing was interesting because a lot of conservatives were basically saying, I don't care if Donald Trump nukes social media and destroys it for everybody because we're already getting suppressed anyway. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not what would happen.
They were black-pilled, though.
If
yeah.
you get rid of Section 230, then Facebook goes, oh no, oh they've got rid of, oh geez, what do we do? I guess we can only just choose to curate our
Yep.
platforms. Here are the far leftists we think are good for you. Then you'd get 10 channels.
would have gotten 100 times worse.
Yeah,
You're right.
100
You're right.
times worse.
You're right.
Any semblance of any conservative value, moderate or traditional liberal, would be purged. And it would be hardcore socialist, woke, 10-year-olds or whatever.
But do you know what my mini rant incoming, sorry, but my number one most disappointing thing about the Trump presidency is not that he didn't deliver on several things that he promised, because every president doesn't do that. Look, his wall thing was never going to happen because
I think he did deliver on the wall.
well, if he had 4 more years, he might have been able to really see it through. But the fun, regardless,
They built secure bollard fencing in key areas, and that satisfied Trump supporters.
Yes, it did. Not me though. Not me.
Right,
I wanted it like full turrets, like you know,
alligators and moats.
Right, yeah,
They accused Trump.
Yeah.
This is the stupidest story ever. They were like, Trump asked for moats with alligators. I'm like, no, he didn't. That's the stupidest thing I've
Yeah.
ever heard. If you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you.
Yeah, but he had 4 years to worry about social media, and I'm gonna bring in Ted Cruz here too. These dudes, we all I'm not talking about the people in this room, but I've fallen for it too. Where I'm like, yeah, Ted Cruz, take it to Jack Dorsey in these Zoom meetings, and then they don't do
Like today.
Never do
yeah,
anything.
they don't do anything. And then Trump had 4 years, and then when he realized he was going to lose the election, suddenly he remembered about reforming Section 230. And it was too damn late, and it was like, dude,
He had bad people around him.
Yeah,
And apparently
I think he did.
It was like, I guess Kushner was saying, don't join these other websites.
Yep, I heard that he had shut down Gab. I think he was going to join one other site, and Kushner was like, "No, don't." Do
Parler,
that.
I think.
He had
Parler,
Elon.
Parler,
You don't want
Parler.
to do that.
Remember, he got all those tech guys together, and he was like, "I'm going to form a technology unit in the
Yeah.
White House." And Elon came for like 3 days. and was like,
Yeah,
"I'm out
yeah.
of here."
Right?
Yeah.
He's
Guy's
like, "What
an
am I
idiot.
even doing?" Yeah, I remember.
I said
that,
it, man. And the Republicans were too stupid to solve this problem to save their
Yep.
own careers.
Yep, and it's
And then
too
they
late.
ended up losing in 2018, and they gained some back in 2020. But this was one of the biggest plays. If you lock everybody in their homes, so they can't go to the bar, they can't go to the store, they can't go out, and then the only
You are looking for his stolen
place they can
equipment.
interact with people is
I
on
already
social media,
destroyed it.
but the social media
His fault
companies
or not,
have
I abide no
excised
threats to
half
send
of the
the car
country's
where
political
we-
opinions.
You must
You
be
are
talking about
forcing
those
people down a
strange
very
things that
narrow
somehow
path where the
live
only
mad
interactions
without draining the
they have with
ley
people
lines.
are based on
I
their
approved them
ideologies.
myself,
This
but they
was,
exist on every
you know, you
plane I have
combine the
seen.
censorship with the pandemic, and it was the perfect storm to purge conservatives. And I think Trump could have. I think Trump would have
I
gotten
have learned
85
my
million
lessons
votes
about
if in
meddling with
2016,
artifacts that I know nothing about.
when the news was starting to come
We can
out,
leave it at
if they
that.
actually started taking action in
What do you want with
2018
Yep,
when
I
the
agree.
stories went huge.
Yep.
When I'm sitting there with Jack Dorsey, if
Connect
Trump
to
just
them.
paid attention and said,
Why would
do this now, then it would have been inverted. It would have been Trump 80
You
million,
represent
Biden
the car without
74.
question.
Yep.
But
I agree.
instead,
I agree.
a lot of people,
Help
because
me with
remember that
talent.
guy, what was his name? Robert, was it Robert Epstein? Is that his name?
Yeah.
The researcher.
Yeah.
He said, Google.
Unfortunate name.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
said,
Right.
he said, there's a lot of people's name at Epstein.
Yeah.
But he said, Google is directing people to news, and they are flipping millions of votes from Republican to Democrat by what they're showing people. And he's like, I have the data. And still, after these hearings, you know what?
Man, we'll just fine you with the FCC.
No. Like, it's hard. I'll give a shout out to Ted Cruz because he's doing more than literally anyone else.
True.
But then I'll slam him for just like
What are you doing?
not doing anything.
They don't have a plan.
Well, they're
Like,
grandstanding, and I was talking about this earlier. My concern is that the government, you know, and I may be uneducated on this. I might be the one thing I don't know everything about. But like
Just the one thing.
Yeah. But like the FCC will hit them with like what, 500 million in fines. I mean, where does that money go, right? Like so the government milks all this money out of Google and Facebook for antitrust, right? But what the hell do they do with it? It's like
They're not doing
it's like a
anything.
viable income source for them, for them
Dude.
to exist. It's like hush money.
I turned on the news today, and I'm watching this, you know, Jack Dorsey and Mark Zuckerberg.
Do you see he's a skinhead now? He's
Yeah.
a
Shaved his head.
confirmed neo-Nazi.
He shaved his head.
Yeah.
I disagree with Jack Dorsey's. Well,
Everything.
I don't know. You know, I think they do this every few months, where they go in there and they pretend like they care. The politicians pretend like they care.
Yep.
And then, like you said, man, people fall for it. And they're like, oh, look at this hearing. And I'm like, what? Nothing happened.
Remember Trey Gowdy? He would go viral, like on these like epic
I
takedowns
liked
of
him.
people, and then like still, nothing would happen.
It's performative.
Yeah.
It's meant to placate and appease
I
you.
get sucked into
while
it.
Nothing gets done. And it's been that way for a long time. And that's why one of the reasons people like Trump.
Yeah.
Because Trump would just walk in and go, excuse me, no, I'm talking. And they're like, finally, just do something. Throw a pie. I don't care.
Right. Yeah.
That's like you see these congressional hearings, And it's like, we're not censoring people. You're censoring people. We're not censoring people. What? You're censoring people. Thank you and have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Right.
They're good at calling out the problems, apparently, like Ted Cruz, all these dudes.
Yeah.
But they don't have a plan to like fix, like to replace the situation.
They don't know what to do. They got him on the grill.
To plan.
No, they don't want to fix it.
They're not smart enough to, or something.
No, they don't care.
Like we need a technologist.
I'll tell you what happens. These Republicans.
Who's our chief technology czar? That's a position,
we have
right?
a guy.
Bill Ottman.
Listen.
Not yours. Czar.
These politicians wake up, and the Democrat gets out of bed and he goes. He looks at his watch. What's honey? What's today? You're doing the hearing with the guys from the social media.
Googles.
Oh yeah. What do my? Am I a Democrat? You're a Democrat. Oh, okay. I'm gonna pretend like they're spread misinformation. Then he gets in there, and goes, "You're spreading misinformation." And then once it's all over and they hang up, so sorry to yell at you, but you understand, right?
Please
Have
back
a nice
my
day.
campaign.
I'm gonna go order pizza and beer. I can't even remember what we talked about.
The antitrust laws don't work with modern technology, because if you break the company, if you broke Facebook up into Instagram, Facebook Messenger, Facebook Prime, for instance, and Zuckerberg still owned whatever 40% of each company, he's still going to have the ability to make the terms of service for each of these new companies and maintain his wealth and power and influence.
And in my opinion, the antitrust laws are just a revenue stream for the government. They're not really interested in protecting the people or protecting free speech. They're like, okay, the EU hit Google with a $55 billion or $50 billion fine a few years ago for some data. Like, they care. Now they have so much money that it's like there's no incentive to fix the problem when you can keep printing money.
I'm sorry. I've got to stop you there. The big tech companies absolutely care about the people with millions of dollars in their bank accounts.
Well, yes, right.
Yeah.
All 7 of them.
Yeah,
they
right.
care about them deeply.
They care about those
deeply.
people.
Yeah.
But they care about people, just not you listening
not
at home.
all the people.
Yeah, clearly not all of them.
If we're not making $100,000 a year, are you really a person?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Not until you incorporate.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but they don't even care about the people making 100.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Dude,
yeah.
no joke. I've heard the story over and over again. You try calling your representative, and they'll answer if you get through. But I'll tell you this: you're worth a couple $1 million. They'll be calling you.
Yep, that's a fact.
That's how it works.
I will say this at the risk of, this is an unintended flex, but
Do it.
I have gotten calls from local politicians.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm like, eat a dick. You know what I mean? Like, it just, no. You know, you didn't care about me before. My opinions haven't changed. Really, in fact, they've gotten more, strict than they were before. But it's frustrating because you had, man, Parler had such a high ceiling for a week. For a week, when they banned Trump, if Trump had anybody around him and he created an account on Parler, it would have been instantly viable, even if they got banned.
We have new information coming out about Parler, which proves, in my opinion, all right, so I'm not saying it's literal evidence in a court of law. I'm saying, after seeing this, I am personally convinced that big tech colluded to destroy a competitor, period. Check this out.
But you knew that before this, right?
But it was like, before this, it was, I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing.
Yeah, okay.
Now,
Yeah.
we know their entire pretext was just absolute trash. We assumed it was. Check this out. The Wall Street Journal reports, Parler says it informed FBI of violent content before the Capitol riot.
Months before. Wow.
Social media platform tells House committee has been unfairly targeted by big tech. They say Parler in December began alerting the Bureau to content suggesting the possibility of violence at the Capitol as Congress met to confirm Biden's victory. The company wrote in a letter to the House Oversight and Reform Committee, which is investigating Parler and its role in the siege. The site referred a number of posts to law enforcement, including one on December 24th, from a user who called for an armed force of 150,000 people to react to the congressional events of January 6th. According to the letter, which included the post and communications with FBI officials among its exhibits, and has been reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Mic drop. They said, Parler is hosting these dangerous people and facilitating this.
They're doing nothing to stop it. They're doing
And
nothing.
the reality is,
Jack Dorsey would have stopped them.
they were doing more than Facebook does. Because the reality is, these people were actually organizing on Facebook. And we know it.
That's a fact.
And
Yep.
even the Washington Post and leftists have started calling out Zuckerberg. In fact, in the hearing today, you had one guy, I can't remember which guy it was, but he was like, Mr. Zuckerberg, do you take responsibility for what happened, or some responsibility for what happened on January 6th? And Zuckerberg's like, Senator, it's a very complex, it's a very nuanced. And he's like, he said, yes or no, do you take responsibility? Jack Dorsey said, yes. I knew he would, too, because that's
The
his
right
style.
answer is no, though.
Do you take responsibility?
Yeah, of course the answer is no.
Why do you I think the answer is yes.
Because individual responsibility matters. Like, why do these guys
That's
never
true.
push that?
That's true.
Like, just because they use my platform, that didn't make them go break the law. You know, that should be the argument that these people are making. But Jack Dorsey, like you're right, virtue signaled, right? Like,
Right.
I'm me so sorry. You know, like actually, I'd like to first right now in a record time, I would like to apologize for my Asian joke.
No,
I'm following in the steps of Jay Leno.
I personally requested it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I don't know if I'm Asian enough for them to actually
I don't
like.
know.
Hashtag stop Asian hate.
That's right.
But I'm not surprised. But these dudes, I think they're looking at it financially. Like 50 million fine if I say I'm sorry, 100 million fine if I say I'm not.
But no one's gonna go after them, right? So Parler
They
was
pay.
obliterated, just absolutely obliterated. It was nuked. It's dead. It's not coming back.
Never.
They brought it back, and the momentum is gone.
Yep.
They needed to stop the growth because it was going to displace Twitter. Because as more and more conservatives were leaving and joining Parler, and it was critical mass.
They were going to get to like 30 million or 40 million
But
within
think
a
about
week.
this. That means on Twitter, everything becomes boring.
Mm-hmm.
When Trump became active in his presidential campaign, users started going up. People started joining Twitter. All of a sudden, there was something to tweet about. Twitter knows that they've created an addictive rage machine. That's why they've never gotten rid of the retweet counts or follower counts. They know what it does to people, but they want it.
How many followers did Trump have when he got yeeted? 80 million or
Yeah,
50 million?
80 million something.
Yeah, so half of them at least. Right? No, let's say 20% of them follow him to a new platform. Okay, congratulations, new platform. You have, 15 million users.
I just did some research on Twitter is about to use AWS, Amazon Web Service,
Right.
which is
I
what
thought they
banned
always used
Parler.
it.
They may have, but as of
No,
December,
they've had a contract with them. And that was one of the arguments that Parler was a competitor to Twitter. Twitter signed a big deal with Amazon,
Twitter did
and they got
in
scared.
December.
And so they were like, take Parler off your servers because they're competing with us.
Wow.
And if we lose to Parler, then you guys lose our business.
And Facebook's
Collusion.
not on AWS. They have their own infrastructure.
Yep.
Servers doing it. I imagine Google also has their own servers.
It's remarkable. We know it's happening, but I think the problem is we need to wake more people up to what's happening. And the media is really good at indoctrinating people. I suppose I should be a bit more optimistic because their ratings are in the gutter. They're collapsing. No, I'll tell you this. For all you guys that are listening to this podcast, I want you to know the ratings for this show are improving. Now, the live show isn't getting as much as it was a few months ago, but the segments are getting more. So I think it's an issue of people working, having different schedules, and looking for different things. But overall, we are doing better than ever on Timcast IRL. This is good news. I'm optimistic. CNN's in the gutter, desperate for a villain. Our villain here is always the establishment. So no matter what happens, we're pointing out the corruption. But I'll tell you this. If at any point we become that media establishment, we just have to make sure, as long as we're being the honest ones, straightforward, then that's a good thing if we become the establishment.
Yes.
Right now, we're the outsiders pointing in and saying these people are lying and cheating and stealing. They want power.
We're kind of like the Sega Genesis of 1991. Like, you remember Sega came out, NES was killing it. Then
You mean
Sega,
Master System?
Well, no. Then the Sega Genesis came
After.
out after the NES, before the
Bro,
Super Nintendo.
This is not a good
They were
analogy.
kind of like
Sega
they were kind of like
collapsed.
the side girl,
I don't
you know.
wanna collapse.
But then the Super NES came out and like grabbed the mainstream. They had all the money. Sega didn't really have the money, but Sega was the better
Bro,
product
Sega collapsed.
in my opinion. I think
Yeah.
Sega makes games now.
That's it. Yeah, they're on PlayStation.
So we're like the Sega.
No,
dude.
we don't wanna be the
Super
Sega.
Nintendo. The Nintendo is the mainstream, and we're like coming up on them with better tech.
Yes.
We
All
want
right,
to we
I'm
want
into
to
it.
we want to displace take over and then make GTA 5 And then once it goes live online, we stop working, and it just becomes the same game for 5 or 6 years.
That sounds great.
We have to start making
kidding.
CD-ROMs then.
No, what we need to do is we need
our own ISP.
We need to share. Yes, we need infrastructure, because the way they were able to blow up Parler was by going after AWS, going after the servers. Gab is doing all of that. But we also need people to use these platforms. So that means there needs to be more than just telling people we need to do it. There needs to be an actual incentive, which is why I was talking earlier about doing shows. Here's what I want to do. Imagine you have media and social media all rolled into one. Let's say we make a website where it's like we get comedians like Ryan Long, to produce content. We have original shows. You sign up, you get access to these shows, ad-free with membership, things like that. But then on those sites is also federated social media, meaning if you log in and sign up for this website, it connects you with a social network for all these other websites. And there's an app where you can sign in and follow whoever you want. Instead of following @TimCast on Twitter, you'd follow something like Tim at, whatever.com, whatever the website is. You'd get an account that would be like, John Doe at timcast.com or whatever. And that's what you would follow. You say, oh yeah, follow my account. I'm a member over at Timcast.
I love it.
And but then you're signed into a place where you're getting content. So we're creating an actual incentive model. Why should someone sign up for this social platform? Because you get great stand-up comedy, because you get great news and great documentary and great conversations.
And you could have an app store built into it, like a decentralized app store.
We need a decentralized app store for sure. They exist. You can download other app stores. The problem is incentive models. People have no reason to use anything other than Google's app store. It's just easy and everybody uses it. People got no reason to use Gab, because everybody's on Twitter or Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook.
It's hard to get people to do it just because it's the right thing to do or because it's moral. It's almost like you need an emergency, like something to whip people into
What we need to do is we need to place small pieces of candy on the road that lead to a box with a stick, so that people go, ooh, piece of candy.
So crypto.
Ooh, piece
like
of
if
candy.
you could get
and then
paid
you pull it,
for
you
using
trap 'em in.
Piece of candy.
Like if you got paid for using an app store.
No.
Dude,
I think that's awful.
Mines,
man.
you can stake your crypto on Mines now and make crypto.
Listen,
just by having your crypto on Mines.
I think that staking is interesting, but I'm sick and tired. Since MySpace. I don't know if you remember this, Jeremy. There was a website that popped up around the MySpace days that was identical, but they paid you if you used it. And what they were doing
What it
was
was called?
no, I don't remember, but they were like, you got to use this. I remember it was Red, and they were like, sign up for this one because they split the ad revenue with you. And so if you browse it, you might make like $50 to $100 a month just from using the site. And I'm like, dude, that doesn't work, because people aren't attracted to the idea of like a get-rich-quick scheme. YouTube works because there's a legitimate structure.
Whoa. Let me just stop you there. Are you saying people aren't attracted to get-rich-quick schemes?
Regular people are not going to sign up for a service.
Amway, literally every MLM ever.
How many people are in MLMs?
What do you think? A couple million, probably.
MLM. What is MLM?
It is a tiny fraction
Pyramid
of the
scheme.
population.
People hate it.
They
Sure,
are mocked,
sure.
they are belittled, and no one trusts it. So when you have a social media site, there's a bunch of these crypto sites where they're like, if you post your video here, you can earn crypto money. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Simply by watching it, crypto is generated. I'm like, dude, what's backing your currency? It's no different than fiat, in my opinion. It's just a nebulous value. Now, Bitcoin makes sense to me for a variety of reasons. Confidence being a big one, but the new technology. Generating revenue because your video gets views and you can't explain to me where that value comes from and who's giving you the money for it.
The Mines token is interesting. Today I made a post on Mines. I was like, I want to spend 2.5 tokens to boost it to 2,500 people. And I was like, I don't want to spend the tokens because they're worth 70 cents each or whatever they are. 75. And I was like, and I just did it. I was like, yeah.
Let me ask you this. Why isn't any other video platform displacing YouTube? It's simple.
Odyssey's looks like it
it's
might.
Simple. It's not going to.
It's decentralized.
There's two things.
Oh, displaced maybe not. That's
there's
tough
two
to do
things
right
stopping
now.
it. Google subsidizes YouTube's infrastructure, which is too expensive.
Billions.
And then they split advertising revenue with
not profitable.
us.
It's a great model.
Well, the way it works is let me use a little day job knowledge here. All YouTube is the same thing as this. The reason Android has phones is for what? To serve ads. That's the only reason Android phones exist. Google serves ads on their phones. Google serves ads
in the
on
Play
YouTube,
Store, on search.
Play Store, everywhere.
It's to get access to attention so they can sell ads.
It's about extending their network for ads.
This is why Facebook and Google have had massive internet access projects.
Right.
Where they're trying, like, they did Project Balloon, where they sent balloons up.
Yeah, Facebook.
They want
that
to
was
be. They
Google.
want everyone online so they can sell more ads.
But let me try to take you back off the crypto thing and help me out. I don't think that viewing various interchangeable cryptos like fiat is great. I think, for example, Odyssey. I've told you offline how much I earned on Odyssey. Do I know how it all worked? No. But I don't need to know how the sausage is made.
Like an MLM.
It isn't like an MLM.
I think so.
Well, I'm not investing any money. The crypto is generated in processor power, from how I understand it, when these videos are rendered and it generates more tokens. Ultra low IQ take. But the thing is, if we don't back, crypto is the only viable
hold on.
alternative to ads.
Let's talk about some of these, like, crypto generating video sites. When they say you've earned...
Is there more than just Odyssey?
Yes.
Oh.
When they say you've earned $100, okay, who gives you $100? Like, how do you get $100 out of that?
Right now, they'll deposit crypto tokens in your wallet.
Yeah,
okay, so then how did you turn that crypto into the dollars they
You'll go to like MetaMask and then sell them, trade them for Ethereum, and then go to take
So
your
why
Ethereum
would-
to Coinbase
why would
and
someone
sell
trade
it
for that?
dollars.
I
For
transferred out.
speculation?
Let me tell you this. I transferred out $44,000 in library tokens from Odyssey.
To where?
My PayPal account.
Where'd the money come from?
Bittrex. I transferred it to Bittrex. Bittrex transferred it to USD, and I got the money.
Whose USD was that?
Well, people who invested in the currency, I imagine.
Because
Why would they
I
invest
bought
in the
library
currency?
tokens.
Yeah, people
the
that buy
tokens
the
going up
token.
in value.
Speculation?
Listen,
Yeah, it's
they-
not
like,
always
the Minds
speculation.
token actually has a function as well. It's speculation, and you can spend it for 1,000 views.
I'll tell you my problem is. Somebody makes a site where they're like, we're going to generate crypto. What they don't tell you is that for every crypto generated, they get a portion of it. And all they're really
cares,
doing
though?
is they're creating a Ponzi scheme,
sometimes,
dude.
not all of them. Minds isn't doing that.
Mine doesn't do
Listen,
that. I don't know about Odyssey.
The amount
I can't
of
say.
money I would get from so I'm one of the biggest accounts on one of these websites or whatever, and they're like, look how much money you have in there, and I'm like, it is a tiny fraction of what I make on YouTube, a microscopic fraction.
But then your position is that unless it can totally replace my earnings on YouTube, it's not worth my time.
That's not what I said. I said this is why they will never displace YouTube.
Well, they don't have to displace it. They have to take 10% of it, 15% of it. That's how the mindset you have to have. This is incremental. We eat their lunch. We don't eat their dinner and their breakfast. So you support these crypto. Look, I'm not a crypto expert. I'm
dude,
sure you can bring one on.
If you can't tell me where your money's coming from, you're putting your eggs in a dangerous basket with no bottom.
Okay, let's talk businessman to businessman though. You put you take 8 minutes to mirror your videos on Odyssey, hypothetically. By
I
the
didn't
way-
even do it. Somebody else did it. All my videos just appear on there.
Right, I heard about that. But let's say hypothetically, right? I obviously, so everyone knows, I don't work for Odyssey. Odyssey doesn't pay me anything, right?
I'm on Minds, I'm on BitChute, and I'm on Odyssey.
Rumble? No.
I'm not on Rumble. And Minds generates tokens. BitChute, I don't believe does. And
does
Odyssey
not.
does.
BitChute's
And I
a
keep
lie
getting
about
told, I get these emails from these companies, and they're like, have you looked at how much money you've already made from these sites? And I'm like, bro, what money for who and why? Like, are you telling me that you created a money printing machine, that you decide how it prints money, and then you're telling me I should trade your hot potato for cash? With YouTube, I know exactly where the money's coming
You
from.
obtained zero risk though, Tim.
I know, so I'm signed up on these sites, and I'm like, sure, whatever.
So I logged into Odyssey, and I had 250,000 wackadoodle tokens. I don't I
what
don't
they're
understand.
called, wackadoodle
I don't
tokens?
understand crypto.
It's
Okay,
the
I don't.
library token.
I
Library is
know.
the company that owns
Yeah,
Odyssey.
right. I don't understand crypto, and I know you should really bring a crypto expert on because I think they would change your mind. Because I'm ill-equipped
Nah,
to tell you.
I've been following Bitcoin since 2011, and the various cryptocurrencies.
But then why would you have that opinion about library tokens if you understand
Maybe
that
because I know
Bitcoin-
more about it than you do.
What's the next big one? Ethereum, right?
Ethereum?
huge.
Ethereum's one
Cardano's
of the most
big.
revolutionary technologies.
So when I
we've had
buy
in a long time.
when I cash out a Bitcoin, whose money is that?
When you cash out a Bitcoin, what you're looking at with Bitcoin is first and foremost, first in, best dressed, and institutional confidence.
But whose money is that? That's a question
Federal
you asked about the library
Reserve's
token.
Investors.
Okay, so isn't that true for library tokens?
Yes, the problem is
So what's the difference?
who controls library tokens.
Like who's printing them? They
So
might
listen,
be being mined.
I don't think
I'm going to
they're-
avoid this for legal reasons.
Okay, fine.
I am not talking now about any particular company.
Or let's just talk about crypto in
But
general.
I know many people who are involved in crypto. I know Bill Ottman and Ian, for instance, and they do mines.
Yeah.
And I know several other high-profile computer tech specialists and hackers who told me some of these sites are legit Ponzi schemes. What
It's
happens
probably
is-
true.
So listen, with Bitcoin, I understand Bitcoin. Cryptocurrency is an amazing asset, and this is true for any, but we call them ish coins for a reason. Ethereum and Bitcoin, in my opinion, are paramount.
Just because they're the
Ethereum
most
is-
valuable, though.
No, absolutely not. Ethereum is smart contracts. It's revolutionary technology. It allowed for the formation of ERC20 tokens, which created websites like Odyssey's capabilities. And they need to use the Ethereum network for these things to function. Bitcoin can also do this kind of, but smart contracts don't work as well on Bitcoin.
They're updating it.
Ultimately,
They
right,
will,
they're
yeah.
constantly trying to update it. Ultimately, Bitcoin is digital gold, an opportunity for a hard asset that can't be replicated, and that was the first time. Who controls it? A decentralized network. I'm not worried about who's mining the tokens. I'd like to have some. These other companies have proprietary control in many circumstances, where some dude sitting in his bedroom controls what's going on, and he's funneling a bunch of tokens to himself, convincing you it's a good investment. That way, when you produce content for his site, then all of a sudden now he says, see, it's valuable because Jeremy produces content for my site. Then he sells out his tokens,
Yes.
makes a ton of money.
That's happened a lot. That's a big
It happens a lot.
problem. With
One of the-
mines,
and
they
especially
didn't
with
do
the
that, though.
ICOs, the initial coin offerings, was a whole lot of scamming going on.
You see it
So
in the
listen,
white papers if you read the
listen,
white papers.
I have no problem with syncing my content to a decentralized network and a torrent network that will clone my videos. But I am not going to spend any time focusing on developing these platforms where at any moment the bottom could fall out, and it's just.
But what's
a
your
confidence
exposure?
game.
What's your exposure if it falls out? Is what my question is.
If you set your business up to be on a platform, it could be your entire company.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. I pull my money out, right? Every month. Well, not really now because I pulled out basically everything.
It's also not easy to pull your money out.
It took me 8 minutes.
Not me.
Well-
I've had these people email me several times, and they're like, you have to go through each individual video of your 3,000 videos.
Yes, that happened with Odyssey with me. I did email them and I say, what the hell? And they unlocked it for me. But yes, because you and I are different, we had such huge amounts. You can't just unlock them like 250,000 token. I tried many times, it failed. But I did email them and I said, you need to unlock this all.
I have a problem with much of this cryptocurrency.
I have
Ethereum-
no crypto,
Ethereum,
by the way.
Listen,
So everyone knows. I'm not a crypto investor.
Ethereum is revolutionary technology. Bitcoin is revolutionary technology. But Bitcoin was first in, best dressed, and provides
Yep.
a value.
What's
After
that,
that,
60K now?
it's been up
Yeah,
and down.
55,
right.
I think,
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. I have 0. Please send me one.
I
guys.
have seen this since the dawn of crypto. When I used to go on some of these websites and you had hundreds of what we call, ish coins, S-word
Yeah.
coins, and many of them have gone defunct. And I've seen companies rise and fall. So when I see a fly-by night, hey, we cloned this protocol, we cloned this chain, join us, I'm like, why?
I don't disagree with you, but Library is not a fly-by-night token. It's been around for several years.
Do you know the origin of Library and their initial plans?
Nope. I don't
Not
know.
good. And I had conversations with them, and then one day my account just happened to be on that platform, and I was like, I don't know why that happened. I'm
Hey,
not a
one
fan.
of your own employees put it on there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was one of your marketing managers.
Yeah.
What?
That's
Yeah.
what I was told.
Yeah, I was told. Yeah.
Nothing nefarious.
Yeah.
I don't have
no
a
way.
marketing manager.
Or at the time, or whoever it was.
I've never had one.
Someone that was working for you. I
So I'll tell
Well,
you.
I don't want to turn this into a shilling
Yeah,
for
yeah,
Odyssey.
whatever.
My apologies.
But
I'm just
I'm
saying
just
that.
saying I don't know how I ended up on that platform. I'm not saying anyone did anything wrong.
There's multiple ways to make crypto. You can mine it, or you can create it. And what Mines did is just created them. They're not
when
mining
you-
them.
They're
But
ERC20 tokens.
if you read the white paper, you see what they're going to do with the tokens. They're not giving them to the executives. Like a lot of companies will create them and then give 20% to the people that started it. Those are like pump and dumps. Those are dangerous because then they're going to try and pump the value and sell out. Doge did that.
Yeah.
Tron, I would imagine. I don't want to spit on Tron, Justin, if that's not what you're doing, but I think they did that. One of the guys sold out on Tron. But so you got to read the white paper. That's the first step. If you really want to know if the crypto's legit or not, read the white paper, and they'll tell you.
Imagine chat's going freaking bananas right now. Yeah.
Also, is it tied to a value other than just nothing? Like
My original
Bitcoin.
idea.
A hope and a
listen,
dream.
Is it
my
a-
original idea was
well, like
that.
Mines token, you can get
Listen.
views on a network with it. It's
Here was
super cool.
my original idea. I talked to Bill about this. Jeez, like maybe 8 years ago. Was it 8 years ago? It was a long time ago. I said, you create a media network that people can buy tokens with. Tokens are exchanged for advertising on the site. So imagine if in order to buy Google ads, you needed a Google token.
Yeah.
The reason why this would work is because the secondary value would be determined by the power of the ads, not set by Google. So what would happen is, you were like, I want to advertise on Timcast. All right, well, I say it's 100 tokens to run an ad on Timcast. Then you have to buy those on secondary market, or I can sell
primary, right?
or I can sell the ones I already have that you give me. Let's say initially I only get 1,000 views per video, so 100 tokens costs you $1 because you're not really going to get much for it. Then one day it's still 100 tokens to buy an ad. You're getting 100,000 views. Now people are trying to buy up as many tokens as possible because they know it'll get you access to 100,000 views, and they're giving me those tokens I can sell back on the market. It creates a secondary market for advertising buys.
Only with
That
a
was my
fixed
original
number of tokens. Because the value of the tokens doesn't change if you can print them on demand.
Only based on how much inventory you have.
Yeah.
So if it turns out you can get 100,000 views, but everything's constantly bought up, the value drops because
Right.
nobody can buy the ad space. So it reaches a
But
point
that's
of
not.
equilibrium.
Oh, interesting.
That doesn't limit Bitcoin.
What we have now,
because we're mining that.
What we have now are companies who are like, you got 1,000 views. That turned into $300. And I'm looking at some of these networks where it's like a dude makes a video, gets 300 views, and it says it's $300. And I'm like, dude, somebody's getting ripped off.
Steam it.
I'm not
That
calling.
was one.
I'm not talking
Steam
about
it.
anybody.
That thing ended up falling apart. Steam it.
Yeah.
I'm
In
not
weeks,
talking about anybody
basically,
or any company in specific.
I think they got
in
bought
particular.
up. Their token was like $7 at one point.
My goal is just to get Tim to get less black pilled on these alt. Here's why I stump for these various alt networks that have never made me any money. Is that it costs me zero to support an alternative.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, that's all I want. That's all I want.
Plus, I think
that's all I want for you, Tim.
I'm just
profound
saying,
how you said it.
you're not
it's
gonna
the way
see me-
to get
listen,
past ads. I mean, it's the
there
other.
are- there are-
it's one way to get past ads.
There are a bunch of other social networks that are like, you should join up with us and move all of your subscribers.
Yeah, fuck
And
that.
I'm like, I'm going to make my own website. I'm going to make my own website, and people can sign up for that I can control. No one can ban me. There's no hidden, BS behind the scenes or whatever, and I'm going to understand what's going on and grow from there. Too many people are trying to exploit big channels and this wave to make money.
He's right.
And
Yeah, they've
You're
been
right.
doing
I
that
get those
since the
emails. I get
beginning.
those emails.
I used to get those emails in 2007.
Let me say this. One quick thing, because I know we're off the rails.
And then we got to talk about Emily
Yeah.
Redzikowski and her hating her own
Yes,
son.
What was
That's
that?
a-
It's
what-
Aaron. What was that guy's video that? With
How's that go?
Yeah, you. It's a Thick. Alan Thick.
Oh,
that
Alan
one.
Thick. Yeah.
She's in that video with
You
Alan.
know what I want to say is I'm gonna tell a story in the members only portion of the stream about somebody who tries to take advantage of big channels. Somebody, everyone in this room knows.
You're going to get sued for it?
Nope.
No? All right. So
yeah.
looks like
I'm
we're
just
going
saying.
to have a spicy members only segment.
Yeah,
full of,
there you go.
full of
All right.
questionable.
So, yeah.
All right, we got to talk about Emily Radzikowski.
Great set.
Listen, the first
great set. Let's all.
Crypto conversation's amazing.
All right, my friends. The first thing I want to say is
Leave a
that
like.
we have the story from Vogue. Emily Radzikowski talks about how she essentially despised her own husband and son, and it is some of the creepiest trash I've ever seen from a woke cultist. This woman, wow, is it scary what she's saying about her own kid and the guy who gave her the kid. But I will say, listen,
Filthy like that.
if you like Emily Radzikowski, more power to you. I'm not a fan. She's made a career off of, like, whenever some tragedy happens, she posts a nude. And I'm like, I get it,
Thank you.
People like, yeah, sure, great. Like, people like looking at a naked lady. I get it. But I'm just like, I think it's kind of, look, if you want to be an Instagram model and you
She's
post,
been in movies though. Was she in a Bond film? She's been in a few movies.
I don't know, look.
I saw that Robin
just
Thicke
saying-
video and I was like, she is so hot.
I'm
Robin
just,
Thicke, yeah.
Every picture I see of her, she looks miserable.
but listen, I'm trying to point out, I got no beef. You like the lady, by all means. That's your thing. For me, not my thing. That's fine. I like the Instagram models that aren't shoving politics down my throat and telling me they hate their white husbands. You know what I'm saying? So like, if you want to get naked on Instagram and you want to post racy photos and be really sexy and all that stuff, I enjoy it. I love it. The issue, however, is when you do it when there's like a school shooting and then you're like, I'm gonna get naked now. It's like, maybe.
She didn't do that though.
I'm not
This
saying
was-
her. I'm just
okay.
giving like I'm being hyperbolic. I'm not saying she
Okay.
did that. I'm just pointing out
Not to
that
stump for a stupid Hollywood.
To bring attention to like a tragedy, they'll get.
There are a few people that do
This
that.
matters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they'll do really weird. Like there's, I don't even want to get into some of the creepy things some of these people do. It check this out from Vogue. Emily Rajkowski on pregnancy and why she doesn't want to reveal the gender of her baby. All right, well, let's read the first, a bit of the first paragraph, and then I want to show you the craziest part of this. She says, when my husband and I tell friends I'm pregnant, their first question after congratulations is almost always, do you know what you want? We like to respond that we won't know the gender until our child is 18, and that they'll let us know then.
Yeah.
Everyone laughs at this. There is a truth to our line, though one that hints at possibilities that are much more complex than whatever genitalia our child might be born with. The truth that we ultimately have no idea who rather than what is growing inside my belly. Who will this person be? What kind of person will we become parents to? How will they change our lives and who we are? It is a wondrous and terrifying concept, one that renders us both helpless and humbled. I just want to pause. Your child becomes what you raise it to be. When you place your child in certain environments, when you tell your child certain things, they become like you. They imitate you. How is it that we're in this place now where people are like, I'm going to have a kid, and I have no idea what the kid will end up thinking or believing?
I know why.
So interesting how kids tend to have the same religion as their parents. How did that happen? Magic, I guess.
Why do you think, Lydia?
It's because they're following the blank slate theory. They're following constructivism, and they think that everyone is born with absolutely no inclinations or tendencies in the society around them to accept whatever.
You guys ready for this? Here we go. My friend who is the mother to a 3-year-old boy tells me that she didn't think she cared about gender until her doctor broke the news that she was having a son. She burst into tears in her office.
What a terrible thing.
And then I continued to cry for a whole month, she says matter-of-factly. After a difficult birth experience, she developed postpartum depression and decided that she resented her husband more than she'd ever imagined possible. So I'll clarify, I misconstrued what I read earlier. She's talking about somebody else, so it's not her. She told me that she particularly hated, and she made an actual physical list that she kept in her journal, editing it daily, how peacefully he slept. There is nothing worse than the undisturbed sleep of a white man in a patriarchal world. She shakes her head.
Preach.
It was hard to come to terms with the fact that I was bringing yet another white man into the world, but now I adore him and can't imagine it any other way. She also eventually learned to love her husband again. The sound of his perfect sleep next to her at night is now tolerable. Oh, just tolerable.
Well, that's a.
So I'll clarify, I was wrong. I when I first read this paragraph, I mistakenly assumed it was coming from Emily herself. She's telling the story about somebody else. I didn't realize she had.
People do that.
She's probably talking about herself.
Well, she doesn't have a 3-year-old.
Yeah,
Look
I
at
have a lot of friends.
But hold on,
things.
we're not done yet. She says, despite my apprehensions about having a boy, when I call my best friend to tell her I'm pregnant, we both immediately agree on our shared instinct. I'm carrying a boy. I'm picturing a dark-haired son, my friend tells me over FaceTime. I don't know why, I can just see it. I nod and study the red fabric of my couch, trying to imagine a baby boy's tiny body lying next to my thigh. I thought she said she won't know the gender of her son until it's 18.
I hate this.
She changes her tunes.
All of them.
Everyone has opinions on what to expect from a boy or a girl. Boys develop slower. They're more work than girls as toddlers, but they love their moms so much. One friend tells me, girls mature faster but are so sensitive. It sounds like she's talking about biological sex differences.
It sounds like she wanted to abort her baby because it was a boy.
Yep.
It sounds like she at least. It sounds like she at least considered it. Like, she's not talking about how difficult girls are. She's saying that, oh God, a boy, man, would just take a couple of pills.
Here. When she's writing about what people say about boys and how they develop, she's criticizing the idea of biological sex differences. She says, I don't necessarily fault anyone for these generalizations. A lot of our life experiences are gendered, and it would be dishonest to try and deny the reality of many of them. But I don't like that we force gender-based preconceptions onto people, let alone babies. I want to be a parent who allows my child to show themselves to me. And yet I realize that while I may hope my child can determine their own place in the world, they will, no matter what, be faced with the undeniable constraints and constructions of gender before they can speak of, hell, even be born. I don't think it's the worst article in the world, to be completely honest. I disagree with her. But I can respect at least she recognizes there are some legitimate differences between boys and girls. The problem is there are stark differences. It is fair when she points out a lot of the things we tell to our kids are based on social constructs. This is true. Like, you decide to give a kid certain things. However, boys still gravitate towards certain things, spatial awareness type projects, construction, building, and young girls towards social.
Which is why they like dolls, because like communication.
I mean, boys have action figures, but they play with them differently, right? Pew, 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 pew. Is it
Set 'em up.
Is it possible testosterone we know is tied to aggression? Prenatal testosterone is going to affect the attitudes and desires of young boys, and not only that, but for the most part, 98.3% of boys or girls are going to gravitate towards social things.
You guys have micro machines?
Oh,
Hell
definitely.
yeah, dude. Awesome. Yeah.
No, so I mean, like
The
toys
video
I
game
have-
on NES.
where you have like a little track and boats and stuff.
The boats are good too. Yeah. Classic.
You should get it. You should try it out sometime.
Yeah, I think it's a gold card. One of those rare like NES, like Link had a gold card. Oh no, it was the ones that like were rounded on the end. Anyway,
Interesting.
Micro Machines, good NES game.
But boys like things like fast-moving. This is a gross generalization, but and this
You
also
should be
brings me to
ashamed.
This
when they
is-
give
listen.
boys blue and girls pink. What's that all about?
This is what one of
Yeah.
the things that we talked about the other day.
I don't hate that. I don't hate questioning that kind of thing.
Blue
I-
and pink.
Yeah, I don't hate that. But a lot of
Right.
parents now do yellow, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or green.
The,
I
the,
mean,
Yellow or green?
the
Is
issue
it-
is the
yeah.
idea that it's either completely constructivism or completely essentialism. It's mostly essential. It's like
Yeah.
it's like mostly people are boys are born and have predispositions.
This is like nature versus nurture.
Right.
So like you're born with a nature, and then you're nurtured around that genetic. Like there's lateral and horizontal gene translation. So like you're born with genes, but then your genes can change responsive to your environment as you grow.
This
Right.
is listen.
Right, right.
This is partly we talked about this the other day about how, and I think you might agree, Jaron. I'll get your opinion on this.
Thank you.
They talk about feminism, but my argument has always been that feminism absolutely has disdain for femininity because they're advocating for females to adhere to traditional masculine roles.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well,
So,
third
like-
wave feminism.
Right,
is-
right, right.
Yeah, third wave
Well,
feminism
all
is,
feminism, always.
is misandry. I
No,
mean,
no,
that's-
listen. All feminism always has been like women should be able to do the things that men do. It's not been men should do the things that women do. Like we mentioned this the other day. Where's the narrative where it's like men should be in the home with kids? There is a narrative that women should be the CEOs of big companies. There's
Yeah.
a narrative of
Yeah.
men can be with kids.
Yeah.
But the traditionally feminine role and the things that we often see expressed by young girls are like shoved aside and we're told basically not to do those things.
That's third wave feminism.
No, that's feminism in general.
Well,
I was
third
told-
wave is, to me, feminism, first and second wave were basically that men and women are equal.
That was what I was taught growing up.
And then, like, third wave was more like, actually, there's not enough women in CEO positions. And you know, the women's soccer team who lost to a 15-year-old boys team should be paid the same as the U.S. men's. They should. Yeah, if they generate as much money, they should.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right, 100%. If they fill up a stadium, I 100% agree.
They do, though.
In the World Cup.
Right.
Yeah, that's it, though.
We-
no
we-
one
we-
gives a shit otherwise.
We talked about this before
I'm
too.
a shiza.
We talked about this before. That's no sweat.
Ah.
That some people didn't agree, but I was like, dude, it's marketing. If Serena Williams can generate millions of dollars in tennis,
She does, though.
absolutely.
Yeah, people
and
pay
then
to
she
see
makes
her.
more money than the male tennis players.
Almost all of them.
So
Yeah.
let's have that conversation. Like, how much does Serena make compared to how much do the men make? Should they be playing?
Men don't complain.
This is the
who's
point.
the biggest male tennis player right now?
Federer?
Could you name him?
Is it Federer?
Come on, he's 100.
Roger Federer?
100?
Yeah, give me like a.
I don't know. I don't know anything about tennis.
Exactly.
The only thing I know is Serena Williams, man.
Right, me too.
She's a superstar.
Yeah. Oh, what's the hot blonde? I mean, the traditionally
I don't
attractive
know.
blonde.
Traditionally
Yes, you
attractive
do.
blonde.
Yes, you
I
do.
don't know their names, dude.
Nanatilova. Or,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah. She was never very good at tennis, but she generated a lot of money because she was smoking hot by traditional standards. I don't think she was attractive. But
I don't know tennis players, man.
Martina. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah, Martina Navratilova.
I know.
or something.
What's her name? Megan Rapinoe, the soccer player lady.
the pink-haired feminist soccer player that
Yeah.
whines about gender wage gap. She was in the White House this week talking
Yeah,
about.
talking about wage gap stuff.
Yeah.
If it's true that they're selling out stadiums and they're not
They're
getting
not
the
though.
same,
They're not.
they're not.
No, they're not
I-
selling
I-
jerseys. They're not, because really, when you look at sports, especially now in a post-Coop era, you're not even putting 1 cent seats anymore.
Right.
You're selling
Yeah.
jerseys. You're selling digital game passes
NFTs.
now. Ian, somebody needs to explain those to me after.
All right, no.
I don't want to get into it.
We're not going
Non-fungible
back in-
token. is
Yeah,
what
we're
it
not
is.
right
talking about something
now.
else.
After the show.
Let's do a crypto show.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
like roast the.
Well, I think we already did a crypto show.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my argument is simple. If they sell the tickets, then they should negotiate better contracts.
I agree with you,
and
but
so
they
when,
don't.
when they come out and they're like, this is sexism, it's like, well, dude, you negotiated a contract, so negotiate a different contract.
Well, haven't we won this argument? It's not a.
No, you don't understand. There are people in media who lie, who are dumb, and there are dumb people who believe the lie.
Well,
The
yeah, but
dumbness
I-
constantly cycles
I
back
know,
forever.
but I mean, like,
you'll always be witness to it again.
For the last 10 years, it's been like my dunk arm is sore because I've been like, it's not a wage gap, my friends. It's an earnings gap.
Between all men and all women.
Right.
Not between a single man and a single
Right.
woman.
And you know, if a man makes more money than a woman for doing exactly the same job, it's illegal. And like, nobody wants to hear that. Like, show me a man doing the same job as a woman where the woman makes less, and I will agree. Who always says that? Is that a Rubenism? No, Shapiro does that. Show me a woman who makes less money than a man for doing the same job, and we will agree. But if you don't, then like it doesn't exist because it's illegal.
No, it exists. The issue is that it's based on contract negotiations, and this is what
Well,
the
they
just found.
on the whole,
When-
on the whole,
Right. Women tend to be
they're not,
Here's
they're
what
not as
happens.
aggressive.
Well,
Frank Peterson.
it's not just that. It's that it's almost like guys don't care. They're willing to take bigger risks. This is a fact.
That's called testosterone.
It is.
Yeah.
And so it means a guy sits down for a job interview and he goes, I want 100 grand. And he goes, well, we can't afford to pay 100 grand. Well, then you can't afford to have me, can
Yeah,
you?
eat
And they'll
it.
go, okay, can you do 95? All right, I'll do 95. The woman comes in and they're more agreeable. This is scientific. I'm not trying to disparage anybody.
Agreeableness. is
Some
an actual
women.
And you
character
can argue
trait.
agreeableness
Some
is,
women.
It's a bell curve.
but you can argue agreeableness is a better trait.
We're just arguing
But what
afterwards.
happens is they go into a job interview and they say, well, what's your offer? And they'll say 80,000. We'll go, okay.
Let me call my husband.
No, they'll say okay. They'll say okay. I had this conversation with my female friends all the time. They're like, they're not paying me enough. And I was like, what'd you ask for? Well, they offer, 50. And I'm like, did you ask for 60 or 70? No. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, go ask for it. Well, it's too late now. I already get the job. I'm like,
you're
well,
a
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, but you're a misogynist, Tim. Here's the thing. There is 40,000 people watching you, but 18,000 subscribers short
Of what?
of 1 million subscribers.
It's getting close.
Well, they're probably also
It's going to be a golden,
No.
golden YouTube button, or
If you're like me, there's like 40%.
you guys
of them
gotta
that
subscribe right now.
Yeah, and leave a
Make
like
this
on the
to the
video.
top.
All right. Well, I don't know that has to do with the conversation about women not getting paid or
Well,
anything. But
There are a
anyway,
lot of women in the
subscribe.
crowd. I will pay you women equally if you leave a like
Jordan
and you
Peterson.
subscribe. Yeah,
Peterson's
Yeah.
this clinical psychologist.
Let's break a
you
million
probably
subscribers
know.
tonight.
Okay.
It can
Tell your
happen.
friends.
It's happening.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson has posted clinical data about agreeableness, which is a
so-
personality trait. And
feels so bad.
Yeah, he got kind of raked for it. But women tend to be more agreeable on average, and that's because of their communication skills in the family. It's about not shutting people down. But men are. It's way easier for on average men to be less agreeable, which is why contract negotiations.
Men are stupider.
Right, we're
they're-
more
they're-
what's the
It's
word
the
for
greater
it?
male
Pig-headed
variability
or
hypothesis.
competitive, Yeah.
No. There's the greater male variability hypothesis that women tend to cluster around the center of the bell curve, and men have a wider bell curve, meaning you are more likely to encounter a really dumb man. You're also more likely to encounter a really smart.
Oh, that's
Every
interesting.
day.
So I thought about this too because there's a trope about women saying God men are so dumb. I'm like, you're not wrong. Because
men are also so
because
smart.
if you have 100 men and 100 women, you're gonna have 10 dumb women, 80 average women, and 10 smart women. If you have 100 men, you're gonna have 20
right,
really
yeah.
dumb men.
You could have some
60
savants.
average and 20
And
super
the
smart
stupidest of humans will tend to be men.
Yes.
And the smartest humans will
Currently.
tend to be men.
Yep.
men. Yes.
Yeah.
So here's what
Yeah.
happens: if you have 100 men and 100 women, and you've got 20 male geniuses and 10 female geniuses, you now have 2 to 1 competing for the same job. Those aren't actual numbers. The statistics are probably very different.
That'd be if everybody in the
And-
world was applying for one job.
And let's say
Yeah.
there's 5 positions. There's 30 people, and 20 of them are guys. There's a very high probability it will be all 5 guys.
Yep.
All 5.
That's how you
Not
end up with
because
all
of
the male
sexism,
CEOs.
But because you've got, if you reached your hand into a hat, okay, let's just do regular old
A
casino
sexism
probability.
hat.
No, regular probability. Say we're gonna do blind hiring. So we have the smartest women and the smartest men in this hat. We only have 5. You pull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very strong likelihood. All dudes. All
Right.
dudes.
Or 80%
And
of
if you
them,
take
yeah.
into account that the extremes tend to be male, and you're only trying to fill one role, which is the CEO of Google, you
gonna be a dude.
look for the smartest human, which tends to be it's not always the case.
It's just
a
as
guy.
simple.
But
If
that's
you have-
smart.
listen.
Intelligence is a weird word too.
And the more people that exist, the bigger the gap becomes. Because if it's 2 to 1, you're going to have one job, the CEO of Google, and you're going to have 2 million guys and 1 million women. 2 million from each. So what they do then is you get these equity constructivist people who are like, well, then you have to choose the women. And it's like, that doesn't make sense either.
Well, that's how it is, though.
You pull him out of the
that's how
hat,
it is in the-
congratulations, you got a guy.
So in my day job, I have at least one Fortune 500 company that works for me, and I've seen this garbage on the internals of corporate culture, and it's real. It's not we need to hire the best person for the job. Not at the executive level, at the sales level, at any job that is like
Go, bro.
yeah, not at the level where performance matters, but where the level where people see
Performance always matters, man. If
It
you've
does
got-
not.
Especially in the
No,
military.
listen. If
Well,
you've
the
got-
military,
That's,
yeah.
Listen.
I don't want to rear end the conversation.
yeah.
but that's-
listen. Let's say you have 100 employees and 80 people are herd house manufacturers. Then you've got 10.
They're using McGinty screws.
Let's say you got 80 people actually doing the work. You got 10 people. You got 15 people in an administrative and managerial role, and then 5 executives. You put in one bad executive, and they start just doing weird things. Even if they're not involved in the day-to-day process, eventually an email pops up where they scream bigotry, disrupt operations, slug up the time, and then everything starts getting jammed up, and they will perform worse than a company that doesn't have that weirdo person.
Yeah, but that doesn't prevent them from getting the job. What I'm saying is that that diversity quotas are freaking real. They're real. And if they can't fill it in an existing role, they create them. And that's
Right.
why you end up with the
Chief
diversity czar or whatever the hell it is. Yeah.
Chief Diversity Officer.
Yeah, like that's what it. I mean, it's real. Like I'm not. I mean, that is.
You know what that
shouldn't
really
be
is?
controversial to say.
When they create the position called like the Office of Diversity, Inclusivity, and
By the way, it's
and
never
equity,
a man that has that job.
When they create these positions, they're basically akin to creating the Chinese Communist Party offices in Chinese businesses. They want their church in every company, and they're winning. They're getting these things. Imagine if every company had to have a Christian church and chaplain to administer the proper Christian ideology to what the business does. That's what they're doing with the diversity, inclusivity, and equity stuff.
Do you know how these job negotiations go? It's like the mob, or it's like getting when you're black and you get pulled over in a small town. Like, ooh, your taillight's out. Like, oh, that's a nice business you have there. Sure would be a shame if something happened to it. You should
If we
probably
accused you of being a bigot.
Yeah, you should probably hire me. I have $150,000 in college debt from Columbia. I have a degree in gender studies. You should probably hire me as a diversity. If you look at every major video game company, Riot Games, Blizzard, they all have these roles, and they're all completely useless, and they all make huge money. It's like a mafia.
Remember how like Magic the Gathering used to have all the angels were like redheaded, busty women, and now
No, I don't remember it because it was 20 years ago.
yeah.
Sarah.
But now the cards are like
Good old Sarah.
Angel. Now the cards are like frumpy, warrior-looking, armored, manly women.
Half-shaved head, flipped over the top. By the way, shout out to.
I got no problem with it. I just don't play Magic anymore.
No, I don't have a problem
because-
with either. I don't buy it.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like they're allowed to do whatever they want, and more power to them.
There's a-
Congratulations on your success.
Yeah, congratulations on ruining the best game ever. But the
I'm not even saying that. I'm saying
I'm saying that.
make your own
Did
game,
you
bro.
get
Yeah.
Make,
Which we
make,
are
make,
doing.
Make the quartering. Make Magic the quartering.
But there's,
Yeah, well, if you want a game that's fun, listen. Like you or I, nobody's entitled to this game. It's not our
right,
game.
that's why I walked away. Then,
Exactly,
Like,
exactly.
I didn't want
But-
about it.
The libertarian approach is, I'm a big fan of the game. They've
not
changed
the-
it in ways I don't
It's
like.
not the shaved
we'll
head
make our own
women
game.
that ruined it. It's the mechanics. It's the tri-lands.
It's the power creep really that killed
But
it.
you
and
know
then
why
they're
that
printing
happened?
singles now,
Pay to
basically.
play.
Do you know why that happened? The power creep.
They got lazy.
They wanted to.
sold out.
They wanted a
Yeah.
lower common denominator
bought by
in
Wizards of the
gameplay.
Coast.
Dude, they wanted a lower common denominator in gameplay. They want people of no skill to be able to play and feel powerful.
Do you remember when a 2-drop 3/3 was like a bannable card?
Yeah,
I'm serious.
When a 1-drop 2/2 was
Yeah,
like
that's the
must
best.
have.
Any-
Savannah Lion was the best card on the planet.
were
Grizzly
amazing.
Bears.
Yeah, or Grizzly Bear. That's
Two
a
for a
2-drop 2/2.
Nobody has any idea what we're talking about.
Savannah
So
Lions-
let me
okay,
simplify.
yeah, go
Let's-
ahead.
4 for a 5/5
Hold
had
on.
a drawback.
Okay,
Yeah.
here's what's happening. For those that don't understand the game, for a long time it was a kind of slow game. It's a card game where you play cards. You're battling an opponent. People call it poker and chess.
It's like
combined.
poker and chess.
Poker and chess combined. Over time, as the company got more woke, there were some instances. For one, a comic shop had a Keck flag in a flower pot or something on a shelf. Someone saw it. The shop got banned from buying Magic Gathering
I
products.
did a fundraiser for that.
Right.
Fire and Dice.
What's happening now is, as you know, Ian and Jeremy bring up the power creep. That describes how the game is making cards that are just so insanely powerful. What's actually happening is they want people of no skill to be able to play.
Yes.
The game has become a dice roll. We actually have a joke, right, Ian? Where instead of playing, which like we'll roll a 20-sided
Yeah,
die.
whoever-
Whoever gets
I
up,
won.
you win.
Reshuffle.
Yep, reshuffle.
again.
It's like, all right,
Shuffling's
I got
the most fun.
Yeah, so it's gotten to the point where
Because they'll print new every year. They'll make new cards. So over the years, they would print better, and more powerful cards.
10 years,
so it's
they were
supposed to be like
so
poker and
good.
chess. Poker and chess never changed. It's the same game for thousands of years. They never added new pieces.
Right.
This
Or
game
changed
has new
mechanics.
pieces.
to keep the game fresh, they want to update things. The problem is they don't want skill anymore. It was always difficult. You had to be the best to win. You had to craft the best deck. Now it's like
Did you get the
these cards are insane.
certain
These cards are
decks
insane.
are built around one guy. You get the cards to build that deck, and then that is the deck that wins.
Well,
They
let me
want
tell-
people who have fun going, yay, dragons! Oh
Well, let me
no,
tell you-
goblins!
let me
Flip
tell
a
you-
coin, I win.
Let me tell you what really ruined it, and then we'll get off because I'm sure Chad is just
Well,
dying right now.
we're no, they're chill.
okay, good.
But
You
I'm
guys
just
love
saying-
Magic as much as I do.
Okay, but the power creep was bad enough. But when Wizards make it to the game, they took the woke characters and then specifically made them OP to make sure, like, it's not enough that we have a gender character. It also has to be the best character in the game.
Right.
And we need to force,
Like Captain Marvel.
right. We need to force, quote unquote, everyone to play competitive deck to also play with this, so then they can talk about this or that every week. That was it.
This
That
is
was
what's
all.
happening. We've talked about movies. We've talked about the wokeification of the industry and how the ideology is more important than the content. That's what they're doing. Have you seen my favorite movie guy? Have you seen The New Craft?
No. Do I look like I love torture?
You need to watch
No.
it. You need to watch it.
No.
It's like
Case
it's
study.
like literally watching a torture film. The film has no plot.
Way to sell it.
Listen,
Yeah, right.
there's no real plot. It is literally like, imagine if you watched a video where it was just someone explaining to you why you should be woke. That's what it is for 2 hours.
That sounds awesome.
This
Where
is what's
can I pay
happening.
for
It's
this?
happening to video games. It's happening to comics. It's happening to card games like Magic the Gathering.
Oh, so good.
What they're doing is they're saying, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. It matters that we all have the right ideology.
The right opinion.
So instead of making a compelling story where you have an agendered character who fought a dragon and the dragon bit off his arm or their arm,
Which is fine. Yeah.
yeah, and then they're like, I had to fight, and, you know, in my world, the world I come from, gender isn't a construct. You'd be like, oh, it's an interesting, you know, like, did you ever watch Sliders? The way they go to
Yeah.
opposite dimensions?
I did watch it downstairs. It was on the TV.
No, better yet. Start with The Next Generation as an episode where they go to a planet where all the men are small.
By the
all
way, one of the most woke shows, like, in an unforceful way.
TNG?
Of our area.
Absolutely.
Of our area.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
go to a planet.
They didn't. It never
Listen,
felt forced.
They go to a planet where the women are all very tall and strong and dominant, and the men are all small and
Amazonian.
demure and weak.
Yeah.
Right. And the women of the planet are like a man coming in, making really interesting
Yeah.
points about, you know, society and things like that, and exploring these alternate versions of civilization. It would be fun to explore that. Instead, what happens is that instead of going to like in The Next Generation, they go to this planet, and then Riker explains to this woman how her ways are wrong. How there needs to be equality and how the Federation understands equality. Instead, what we're getting now is Riker would show, if they did this today's day and age, Commander Riker would show up. The woman would be like, women are actually way better than men. And then
Agreed.
Riker would go, wow, I didn't realize that.
Right. Thank
You're
you
so
for
correct.
educating me. Yeah.
So it's not that they're actually teaching us how to be good people and to work with others. They're just asserting that some are better than others. They're like so Captain Marvel got ragged on quite a bit. And so when I was in Avengers Endgame theater, the scene.
That last one, I was like, wait a minute, Tim. What?
The secret's out.
What?
He was Thanos.
Who were you in Avengers Endgame?
Oh yeah, I can't. No. When I was in the theater, and Thanos, when Captain Marvel breaks through the ship, the audience groaned. The
I
audience
know.
went, oh.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
And then when Thanos headbutts her, and then she doesn't flinch at all, they went, oh.
The crowd cheered when he punched her in my theater. When he took the Power Stone out, I was like, "Pow!" The crowd cheered.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
They groaned, man.
Yeah.
I groaned too because it's like, dude,
She wasn't even in the movie. Her entire role in the movie was to be the most powerful character. She did it in 18 seconds and left.
The problem is Captain Marvel is a guy, and it has been since the 50s or whenever they made him.
Very fair
and then they
point,
recast
yeah.
it as a woman. Fine, if she wants to play a male character.
That's not
but
the
they
problem.
changed it into a female for some reason.
No.
Yeah.
That is a problem. Well, for me, that's a problem.
I don't see that as a problem. The problem I see is she's like
Tim Pool.
a fighter jet exploded, and now I'm the most powerful being in the universe, even more powerful than Thanos. We watched the Hulk get thrashed by Thanos.
Yeah.
They did that. Infinity War was amazing.
The Hulk
Endgame,
has 15
you
films.
can't-
He's super powerful.
and they did that in the beginning to show you how strong Thanos was. Then we have this woman who's not in the films at all show up, and Thanos headbutts her, and she doesn't flinch, and the audience groans. I don't care to rehash silly pop culture things in this regard, but this one's important because it's a perfect example of why it
It was the
does
haircut.
not work.
It was the haircut.
The reason it doesn't work is that if there's no challenge, if there's no challenge, life is boring.
Yeah,
We
Thanos
want
is the challenge.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I don't like Marvel. It's not even the
unstoppable
challenge. There are no stakes.
Like they can't lose.
like
The
DC
heroes
better.
can't lose.
You can't lose. So like during Endgame, when Hawkeye and Black Widow have this really intense moment of who they're literally fighting over who's going to kill themselves, right? You're like, oh man, this is real-ish, you know? And they're like, Pym particles was cool. Like, what is?
Did you read the Infinity Gauntlet? The original,
No.
what they based the movie off of?
No.
They kill heroes. I mean, they were gruesome. Spider-Man had his
should
head
be.
bashed in with a rock.
But that's how it
and
should
it was
be.
amazing. It was
Yeah.
gut-wrenching.
Do you remember Weapon X? Like Wolverine was my all-time favorite, and then like Magneto in the comic books rips out all his enemies.
Oh, it's so good.
And he's like basically a head in a bottle. Like they would never risk that in modern.
You
film.
gotta kill your heroes. in
Yes,
modern
you
art.
have to. You can't have this bologna sauce. You're like, oh, let's get some Pym particles and just go back and fix everything. No, when I saw you die in Civil War, you should stay dead because then it matters.
I don't mind that they came back, but Infinity War I think was a masterpiece, and Endgame was just like
Garbage.
No. It was like, you ever see that Simpsons episode where Mr. Burns is an alien? They think it's an alien, but it turns out Mr. Burns is irradiated and he's
I
glowing.
love you.
Yeah. And then it ends with them singing "Good Morning Starshine" and holding
Yeah.
hands. That's what Endgame was.
Yes, it was. Yeah. My wife is not a Marvel fan. She likes Thor because she's a woman and she has Marvel needs. She enjoys. We have a
So
similar.
she likes Hemsworth.
We have a basic similar, including for Endgame we have basically the same body.
Yeah.
So it was like, so she was basically living the dream. But like, we were in the theater and they had that I Am Woman moment in Endgame for all the women. She literally leaned over to me and was like, wow. And by the way, she's never watched, I have 2,000 videos in the quartering, never watched one of them. So she's not like into this cult. She's a normie. That's why
I can't remember where I was, which city I was in. Oh, I do. I was in like, where did I see this? Was I in?
Pittsburgh?
No. I think I was in like Hobbs Grace. You know where that is? In Maryland. I was somewhere near there. I'm pretty sure that's where. I could be wrong, but yeah, people were groaning. These are like regular suburbanite people. It's not too far from the DC area, and they were groaning at these things. So listen. The bigger picture here, why this matters to people who may have not seen the movie, is that you take the traditional hero's journey, which is formulaic, but doesn't always have to be the same. And you look at, actually I'll give you an example. There's a really great breakdown where they compare Captain America to Captain Marvel, his films, and why they don't work. And what the guy reviewing it doesn't mention, and he probably doesn't know, is that he's pointing out all the wokeness.
Yep.
So he's like, you know, we see the character development of Steve Rogers. He's a small, scrawny man. He's weak, and he's getting brutally beaten down, but he's willing to stand up for himself against all the odds. Captain Marvel is a perfect soldier who is insulted even though she's a great fighter pilot. A guy makes fun of her. Then she proves herself as a great fighter pilot, and then she gets superpowers. There's no development. Watching Captain America, right? Watching Captain America. My favorite scene is when with Jack Nicholson. Tommy Lee Jones.
Yes.
He's like, he's not gonna cut. It's about spirit. And then he pulls the grenade pin and throws it. Yeah. All the soldiers run away, and then Steve, as a scrawny guy, jumps on it and says, "Get back!" That was establishing that he was willing to sacrifice himself for others. And even though he wasn't the strongest, he had. And then you see the doctor, Stanley Tucci, who likes maps. Captain Marvel instead.
But that's not even her fault. That's not even her fault. It's just garbage writing. They could have. Yeah, they could have.
It's not Brie Larson's fault.
I agree.
No,
Brie's better than that. That's the problem.
Yeah, they could have given her a great story so she could earn it, but they wanted to fast track it, and that's why.
No.
it sucked.
I don't think they wanted to fast track it. I think it's like you described with Magic the Gathering character. They're like, okay, if we make a feminist character, she has to be the strongest and the best no matter what. So that's what they do.
They already had Scarlet Witch though, and they just didn't give a shit about her.
What, is she supposed to be super powerful, Scarlet Witch?
Scarlet Witch is the most powerful.
She's the most
mega level mutant.
Yeah,
She
more powerful.
rewrites
Why is she
reality.
so boring to me?
That's because
I can only
They
say
haven't-
I can
listen,
answer that.
listen.
it was on Disney
Because
Plus. So
in
They
the
never really wrote
comics,
her character out in the comic.
in the comics, she's one of the most powerful, if not the most powerful. There's arguments about who's the most
I
powerful.
mean, Jean Grey took care of Captain Marvel. You know, like,
Yeah. But isn't the X-Men animated series based off Rogue wiping out Captain Marvel and taking all her powers?
Yeah.
There you go. Good, that happened. But Scarlet Witch can rewrite reality, and did in House of M, this comic book arc, and took away all the powers from everybody. What they did with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver in Age of Ultron was
Weak sauce.
Super
Yep.
weak. But so all she's doing is throwing energy blasts. at people.
Yeah, that looked lame.
Well, they're now changing that with WandaVision. They're making it so that
She showed her true power in that.
yeah, and she's reading the book. Though I'm sorry, WandaVision was bad.
It was a 6 out of 10.
It was bad because she was the villain, and the good guy gets arrested in the end.
But here's the thing, you recognize that, but regular people don't. I said that too when I said, oh, you guys know that Wanda's the villain, right?
And
like,
the good guy was like, we have to stop her because she's enslaved 3,000 people.
She's enslaved a whole city because her feelings are hurt.
Yeah.
And people are like, wow, strong, independent woman. She's related to the Olsen twins.
You see
I'm
how
like, actually she's an evil character.
You see the correlation with like the wokeness though?
Yeah.
It's WandaVision is a story.
Monica Rambeau too in that series too is like
she gained powers because she broke the air.
so lame.
But listen, WandaVision is her feelings are hurt. She's depressed and angry. So she enslaves, literally, this is the story. She enslaves 3,000 people, and they're suffering and begging for death.
They had that one episode.
And she's the good guy.
Yeah.
Because it's her feelings. And then I love the end. Spoiler alert for everybody who hasn't seen it yet, but I'm going to say it.
Everyone's seen it. Yeah.
When he's like, when the fake Vision goes, they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. It's like, dude, she's enslaving them and they're begging for death.
I know. Yeah. Wow. There was a
yes, they're like, please let us die. And she's like, no.
It's
like, dude, wow.
Second last episode, I think, is where, or it might be the last or the second last, but where the townspeople were basically like,
if
oh
you
my
won't
God, I'm in
release us, let us
uncontrollable
die.
pain.
Dude, this is why I'm for...
Well, hold on, but she was the good guy. And the was it the sword agent, I think it was?
He was the bad guy.
We're going to send in a drone
he was the
and
heel.
stop her because she's enslaved 3,000 people. It ends with him getting arrested. Like, for what? Like,
yeah.
This is why
She's the
I'm
good guy.
up for giving people's wealth away when they die, because Disney, whoever owns that or runs that, does not deserve that.
Only for Hollywood, though.
Yeah.
Only for that's the compromise.
Why do people get these great corporations and then just do terrible things with them?
Listen, look at Captain Marvel. In the movie Captain Marvel, there's a guy on a motorcycle. He sees her and he goes, "Hey, why don't you smile more?"
Oh my God.
And the next scene is she's wearing his clothes and on his bike. So basically,
No, you forgot the part
listen.
where she breaks his arm.
So they're basically like, Terminator 2 is cool, let's reuse it.
That's what they were saying.
Actually,
but listen,
yeah, good
this
point.
means the character who's supposed to be a hero has shown her character is that of a villain. That if someone offends her delicate sensibilities, she will injure and steal from him. Batman and Superman never killed, no matter what. And they were really... Hold on. I'm getting there.
Okay.
And there were really amazing storylines like the Justice Lords,
Yep.
where when Joker did trick Superman into, I guess, effectively killing Lois, and then Superman blames Batman saying, you could have stopped him. At any point, if you just killed this man, Lois would still be alive, and he becomes a despot.
Yep.
But these are like alternate imaginings and alternate realities. What makes Superman and Batman heroes is that they won't cross the line.
Yeah.
There have
But
been instances they've written
They
that,
do
I
in the
understand.
most recent DC films. Batman does kill a bunch of people, but like
I know.
I hated that. I
Right.
hated that. But
It was
the-
that was his line. His morals was like killing
Yeah.
is wrong, and if I have the option, I won't do it.
They're
But
just
neither
jumping the shark. They're selling it
yeah.
all out.
But you know what's a really? I want to just mention this about you talked about Captain Marvel and her. Oh wait, no, I think I lost it. Never mind.
Well, let's go to super chats. Then.
Yeah,
Oh
that's-
man,
what a
I
perfect
wanna
time to
talk
go to
more.
super
Yeah, I
chats.
was gonna say something about you were talking about Captain Marvel.
Being
shut
infinitely
up. You know what, I'm
powerful.
gonna go to the bathroom.
We'll come back. We'll circle back.
Ladies
to
and
that.
gentlemen,
circle back on that.
Yeah.
if you haven't already, smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, because as Jeremy pointed out, we have around 40K people watching, and we're only 18,000 subscribers away from breaking 1 million.
It's true.
I think most people watching are probably subscribed. But if you're not, you subscribe. Maybe we can break 1 million subscribers by tonight, especially considering we get like 500,000 total views, including live and VOD.
Is that the Timcast 500,000 one, the gold one? And then
No, that's a
That's a
different
million.
channel. That's a different channel.
Can
Million.
you want me to show that now?
No,
For
it's
what we
different.
might be
No,
getting
it's a
later?
no,
Okay, it's
no,
a different channel. It's
get
just up
there.
here, enticing my eyes.
Subscribe if you haven't already, and
Yes.
go to timcast.com, become a member, because we're going to talk with Jeremy about some stuff, and I guess he's going to call out some companies, some scammers. We'll see what's happening. But if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, leave us a good review because it does help. And more importantly, in any capacity, share this. If you're listening on YouTube right now, just take that link, drop it over in Facebook and Twitter, whatever. That's the best thing you can do, and do it for all our clips if you really, really do want to help. It's that little bit of action. But if you think the show is good, enlightening, or helps people see things they normally wouldn't see, that's the little thing you can do. It helps us greatly, don't get me wrong. But if you think more people should hear this stuff and we should wake people up to what's going on, that's how you do it. With all that being said, smash the like button, and we will now read some super chats. Paxton Harral says, sadly you missed my chat from yesterday, but I sold more non-PC cards, so enjoy more MTG money courtesy of the woke inflation. Hey, there
Oh,
we
you're
go.
selling your cards, your Magic cards. I've gone through multiple phases.
I
of that.
won't sell them, but I got to tell you, I am concerned. Magic, for those that aren't familiar, is one of the best investments you can make because they always go up in value for some reason. Just always.
It's inflation,
Because so
and also the rarity.
the rarity, and
the
they
popularization.
don't make them anymore, and then you need to buy them. It's their collector's cards. So now I'm actually worried because the games, it might get woke and go broke. It's just becoming absurd, and I don't want to play it anymore. And if it's a game I played since I was like 7 or 8 years old, and if I'm at the point where I'm just I'm not having fun playing, this is ridiculous. This game's insane now.
What was your first deck?
My first deck, I don't know. It was built of antiquities cards,
Oh.
and then a bunch of weird sets. And then I eventually bought a pre-made 4th edition, and then I started buying Fallen Kingdoms, I think it was.
Oh, Fallen Empires.
Fallen Empires. There you
God,
go.
what a terrible set.
Terrible set, but it was 80
Breeding
cents per
Pit
pack.
was good.
So.
Yeah.
All right, let's read some more. Let's see what we got. All right. Beef Swillington says, best part of the presser today was the brainless leader was asked about gun control and answered with a random answer on infrastructure. It was
Yeah.
brilliant, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's good diversion.
Here we go. Steve A says, Egyptian female boat captain crashes in Suez Canal, grinds global shipping to a halt at least until Monday. Bitcoin also took a hit due to this. Was it really a female boat captain?
I don't think it was. I don't know.
That's highlighting a weakness in our global transport system.
We got a ton of super chats. Wow. Yeshua Zeph says, Ian, read this. Patent US 2017-0313-44681.
Oh my God.
Craft using an inertial mass reduction device granted to the U.S. Navy.
Can you one more time read those numbers and I'll type them in?
It's US 2017-0313-44681.
Thank you.
Cynic says, my two favorites together, spaghetti and Timcast. What could be better? Hey, there you go.
Sounds delicious.
Jason Angelfire says, hear the quartering's voice in my headphone at Walmart as the podcast starts and busted out laughing. Ask him about the Walmart story and also what TISM is. All right.
Sounds hilarious.
J-Max says, Hambly, blink twice if you're being held against your will. But seriously, the more the media shrieks, the more it becomes evident that you must be doing something right. It is weird how so many are being targeted by journalist thought.
Yes.
Journalist, though. Might have to get my tinfoil hat on and yarn.
I will say urinalism is one of my favorite.
Urinalism?
Hamblyisms, yeah.
Campbellisms, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Urinalism.
Call them urinalists.
Student of History says, hello, gents and lids. Given the current state of animosity amongst people in the current year, I would like to abandon the barbaric legal system and reintroduce the gentleman's art of dueling.
Yes.
Feel like it would help reinstate survival of the fittest. Yep. Trial by combat. How about that?
If they both agreed to it, I'm in.
All right. Grim Soul Banisher says, I want to become a member, but the only payment option is PayPal. I do not have one anymore. They took my money years ago. Is there another option? Not quite. But there will be soon, because everybody who signed up on the current version have granted us the ability to upgrade, and we are. The new version is beautiful. It's amazing. It's the best website. Everybody agrees. You're going to love it. And it's going to provide...
just like Trump.
Hey. Excuse me.
Sorry.
That was the joke. Okay. Come on.